Hello, and you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you can download podcasts. Like, comment, and subscribe. You could also follow us on our Instagram at YSGoat, Facebook at YSGoat, and at Twitter, YSGoat. Thank you. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
All right, well, this week we're going to do The Crow.
Yeah, The Crow.
Right.
Right.
It was another. We just did Reality Bites, and now we're doing another movie from what I remember. Like it came out I think a month later. It was The Crow.
Right. It's weird because they were both 1994 movies, and they don't feel like they came out the same year to me.
Well, technically, The Crow is from 1993. But they had some problems.
Yeah.
We'll get into that in a sec.
Right.
I figured maybe we could talk about some other things before we get into The Crow. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. I don't know if you want to go into the impeachment.
Oh yeah,
we did an impeachment episode, and I know we're talking about it in the middle of an episode, and it's just going to be a thing that changes every day.
Yes.
But what's the new thing? Well, if you listen to our impeachment episode, a day or two after we recorded it, Trump said that there would be a new civil war.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
Right, and he got that from a Texas mega pastor.
Robert Jeffries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who is a delight.
That guy is a total scuzzball.
Right.
He is garbage.
Yeah.
That's not even a joke.
He came out today and said all Democrats pray to Moloch, which is some sort of biblical demon. I was like, that's a pretty deep cut, right?
Yeah. Not Moloch.
Yeah.
He's wrong.
Right. Yes. Everyone knows we pray to Samhain.
Yeah. Moloch. That's the hell's that?
Well, who was the demon in Heredity? Was that Moloch?
Oh crap. I don't. Oh yeah, I think it was Moloch.
Oh yeah. Well, he probably just saw Heredity and he's
Pazuzu is from The Exorcist.
Right? No, you're right. It was a P. There was
Pazuzu is Exorcist. I don't remember what Heredity was.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. It's all fictional. We might as well be worshiping Sauron or Emperor Palpatine or what was the one from the Harry Potter's Harry Potter?
No. Voldemort.
Yes. Yeah.
Sauron. So look, the impeachment stuff. The big news to me today was, and this will probably be out of date by the time it gets released.
Yeah.
But a lot, Pompeo, Secretary of State.
A lot of them are getting indicted now.
Yeah.
Giuliani and Pompeo.
Subpoenaed. Yes.
Subpoenaed.
And Pompeo basically yesterday said, I don't know anything about a call, and then it turns out he was on that call.
Yeah.
And he didn't have it, and then he said to the...
And Barr was there, all of them.
And Pompeo was the one who grilled Hillary Clinton for 12 hours about Benghazi when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State.
Yeah, she actually sat through a hearing for 11 hours.
Like a fucking
and made
champ.
all the Democrats... made all the Republican Congress people that were trying to grill her... They were sweating like crazy on TV. That's not even a joke.
No.
They were sweating because they really had nothing on her.
Right, and she stood there for 12 hours, and Pompeo
won't even go.
No,
they're cowards.
Yes, so
and imagine Trump. Trump would never go to any of these things.
Man, well, anyway, so there's a lot happening, and then I guess tomorrow Pompeo said to all the State Department people, "You don't have to honor your subpoenas." And a lot of
Can they get arrested?
Well, a lot of State Department people are like, "Oh no, we'll honor him. That's okay. We're going." And so there's some State Department people going to willingly testify.
They probably hate him.
Exactly,
because these are people that when Trump always makes a reference to the deep state.
Yeah, they're the glue holding the country together.
The deep state. Yeah, Trump, when he does it, it's just playing into the QAnon lunatics and all the... It's just conspiracy. And nothing sounds worse when you say something like the deep state.
Yes.
I always think of the deep steak when he says that.
Yeah.
The good stuff.
Right. None of that Trump steak.
The Heinz meat. That's what all the flavor
the filet of the neighborhood.
Deep state. But, yeah, it is. It's people who work. They are there when... President Obama's there, or President Trump, or President Zorok.
Yeah, well, they're the ones
that
moderate the worst tendencies of any president. So, if you were afraid that Obama would be too liberal, you don't have to be afraid because the state, the apparatus, will moderate his liberal tendencies. And ideally, when you have a nutcase like Trump as president, the state will moderate his...
Unless he just shuts them down,
Right.
dries out all the money,
Well, did you
which
see
is what
that?
they like to do.
I'm at our kids' STEM program tonight, and my phone goes off, and there's a chime, and it's the New York Times saying that Trump tried to order the National Guard to shoot the legs of migrants entering the... Did you see that?
Yeah, that was like supposedly in a book. I mean, that could have been like said who knows when.
Well, whatever.
I'm sure he said it a bunch of times. I mean, this guy's a complete doofus,
Yes.
and he'll say whatever. And what's his name? John Oliver calls it stupid Watergate.
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
is. You're dealing, you just. The funny thing is, this is following like the script. If you were to write it, like this is just the following the statistics or like the behavior. Him getting impeached is just the natural order of things.
It is.
There's
It's-
really no other way. Nothing. I mean, unless if they didn't impeach him or an inquiry to impeachment, then they would literally be letting him get away with murder.
Yeah.
Because he has no clue how to run the government. It is just a joke.
Yeah.
It's like, and the funny thing is, I'm learning more about the government every day because he doesn't know how to do it,
Right.
And he's kind of like learning when I'm learning with him.
Right.
It's like
Well,
awesome.
Well, I will say
Like,
one
oh,
thing.
there's a law for that? Oh, I didn't know. Oh, there is no law for that. Oh.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, he is a walking civics lesson. Oh, but almost like, do you remember in Highlights magazine, Goofus and Gallant?
Yeah.
Like he is the Goofus.
The Mr. Bungle from
Right,
the
yes.
Pee-wee special
Oh,
from
yeah,
years
yeah.
ago.
Right.
It was like Mr. Bungle's a band too, but
Yeah,
I think they got it from the Pee-wee.
I'll bet you're right.
Well, there was like a special, like it was Pee-wee's Playhouse. It was like an old comedy special that would be played on HBO.
HBO, yeah.
In the early '80s, like Phil Hartman was in
Yep.
it, and this was like basically like
John B. was
It was
in
a
it.
little more older. That's why when I watched the original, because I grew up watching that one,
Yeah.
and there were like jokes in
It was an
It was
adult
like
show.
yeah, it was an adult show, but like as a little kid, you think it's like for kids, and then you're old. So when I watched like Pee-wee's Playhouse, I was like, "This is terrible."
Yeah.
'Cause it was aimed at
It was
actually aimed
actually-
at my
yes.
or I don't know. I might have been a little too old already.
Well, the original Pee-wee's was like a parody of children's shows.
Yeah.
And then he made an actual children's show,
Right.
which was like, that's a weird...
and then he jacked off in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that
he
was to in his defense, the show was canceled for 2 years.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden they caught him and he had long hair. And,
Right.
Yeah. And people were like, didn't realize that the show was off the air for like 2 years already.
And it was in Sarasota, Florida.
Yeah.
And there was not a lot to do
Okay,
in
well,
Sarasota back then.
I think
so.
we moved a little
Yes,
too far. But
right.
to get back to the point was they showed like a video called like Don't Be Like Mr. Bungle.
Yes.
And it was just like, wash your hands. Mr. Bungle doesn't wash his hands.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that was good. Yeah,
And I
he
guess
is...
Mr. Bungle also jacks off in a movie theater and gets caught.
Well, yeah. Or and I'm not... I had a P-tape joke all lined up, but I'm gonna so we were also talking about something, because the impeachment stuff is gonna...
It's an evolving thing. I mean,
It's my favorite show right now.
yeah, it is. It is a nonstop.
It's appointment television.
It is, and
Yeah.
every day there's gonna be something new. I mean, so what's the deal? Like like Congress is closed down for 2 weeks, but the people running the investigation are still operating it,
Yes.
right? And they can subpoena people, right?
Oh,
Like,
they are, yeah.
and they could do it. It's not. They don't have to wait 2 weeks to do
Nope.
it, right?
No, they don't. Now...
Or Matt Gaetz.
yeah.
Why is he there? Like, do the publicists get to pick the worst people when they do these things?
Yeah. Well, the Congress is in recess, but the committees decided to stay in session.
Right.
And they're plowing through
They couldn't.
subpoenas.
They couldn't let this go for 2 weeks.
No.
No way.
Well, look, the
You
one
let
thing...
him take control of the argument.
Yeah,
Take
this is
control
full
of
court press.
Yeah.
The one thing they have going for them, more than the facts, but the one thing they have for them going for them politically is they're on the offensive, right? And this like rarely happens with the Democrats. The Democrats are always playing catch up or
Yeah.
defense, or they're the adults in the room.
Yep.
And it's like when you have an argument with a toddler who's like chucking food against the walls.
eating their own poo.
Right, you can negotiate with that toddler and get it down to a lesser percentage of poop being eaten, but like
Or more.
it's still not a win, you
no,
know.
it's
But
not
like,
a win. You're just.
but like
yeah.
this time, the Democrats are on the offensive and they're moving very very quickly, and they're moving deliberately and intentionally, and it seems like that. Knock on wood, that the pieces are coming into play. And I was talking to someone at work today. This is the first time I've felt this in a while. I think that things are going to happen.
I just like thought of something, and as we were talking, like I farted it out of my brain, and I got to try to get it back. Okay, so my favorite thing that has come out of this impeachment so far, because Republicans or conservatives, whatever, the one thing with them is irony does not exist.
Right.
Or if it does, they don't give a shit, and they don't care. They're just like, it's this constant gaslighting. No joke. Well, when Trump started this, and then when Trump says it, then it trickles down. Only time trickle down works is when Republican talking points.
Well, there's apparently a hotel room in Russia where Trump had a trickle down.
Right.
There's my pee joke. All right. Yep.
Yeah, he likes pee. So now all the Republicans are starting to say, or the conservative, they're like starting to leak it. Oh, the Democrats they're trying to impeach and they're stopping. We really want to do gun reform.
Yeah.
But I guess we just won't do it. Mitch McConnell said that, of all people.
Yeah.
And I was motherfucker, you had a bill put on your desk in February.
Yeah.
We're in October.
We got time for that afterwards.
You piece of shit.
Yeah.
But I just love it. They say this, and it's like they're. I wish they would just start cracking up as they're saying it, because they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I guess we won't talk about gun reform, and I'm like, oh yeah, because that's the thing the Republicans really care about, gun legislation.
Right, yeah.
That's the thing that they're like, that's their number one thing.
That's how you know he's fucked, when they're like, hey, maybe we could talk about gun exchange.
Like, they would anyway,
yeah.
But I mean, but the fact that they're even saying it, it's like, it's just, they know that the one thing that, because like Democrats or liberals or whatever, just people who want a functional government or people who actually want the system to work, these people know how to play people, and they say, well, I guess if you want to have, I guess if you want the system to work, I guess we can't do this, or you don't have a functioning system. It's a joke, and like you said, we're always on the offense. We're always on the defense.
Exactly.
We're always playing catch up.
Always meeting them halfway, always negotiating.
Not even, or whatever what they are framing halfway.
Yeah.
They're the ones framing it.
Right.
So their halfway is basically, in reality, their way.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you said that, because I think one of the things that you said during our gun episode that stuck with me a lot was, you said, and I'm paraphrasing, but something to the effect of, now you say ban all guns. And you said that the theory is like, look, they are starting from like the complete opposite spectrum,
right.
And
you can't negotiate with them,
right? Unless you start from the position of ban all guns, then you're screwed, because you need if you're going to.
I mean, if our end game is to get rid of AR-15s,
right? You
or whatever, it's like. Beto brought up a good example. Said, listen, you can't get grenades.
Yeah.
There's weapons even much stronger than AR-15s.
Yeah,
you can't get those. Imagine if you could.
Right.
People would be getting them, and you would see stuff blow up. It would happen. And if it's like AR-15s, like, geez, I wonder why 60 people were killed in like 2 minutes, because a person can do that.
Yeah.
What about knives, though?
Right. Well, hey,
I mean, it's insane. We'll see. Okay, so it's evolving. And we'll go back to that. So another thing was,
Oh yeah, the other thing.
Okay, so I'm an artist. If you're following this, you probably follow me on my Instagrams, Rob Israel Geek Art, and I post most of my more controversial stuff on my Rob Israel account.
Yes.
And I posted something because I had something I wanted to post for a while. And it was kind of like a dig on like.
It was a shot at Chappelle.
Well, it's not really a shot at Chappelle. It's more of just a shot at like aging, rich, entitled comedians that are getting stale.
Yes.
Like, I love comedy. I'm not a comedian, as my wife will remind me. Or as everyone else will. I'm not a comedian. I might get a good yuck in there.
Sure.
Like a guffaw. But I've never done stand-up. I've never done any of that. Unless you count one of my presentations at my last job for Fall Line for Kids Clothing. That was pretty funny. If you were there.
It killed.
It killed. Yep. Yeah.
Right.
Kohl's salesperson.
Yeah. Did you work in a boys' pants half off joke or
No,
Yeah, that's
no, I don't.
You don't do blue.
No.
Yeah, okay.
I punch out, not down.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Well, okay. So you posted this image.
Okay, so I posted a meme, and it's like a design. It took me more than a couple minutes to do this.
Yes.
And it's like design, and it's making fun of just like I was trying to figure out how I was going to say this, and then I just worked it in, and it says, so if you can find this on my Instagram, if you're still following me,
Yes.
because I lost like 400 followers from this,
Yeah.
and I had to block a couple.
I was
too.
going to say, and a few got blocked. But
Yeah,
yes.
I had to block a good amount, and let me tell you, if anyone says to you like, you can't block people or whatever, yeah, you can.
Yeah, it's really easy.
You can. Like, especially if like I'm not getting paid by a newspaper. I'm not getting paid by a news organization or media outlet. This is my own thing, and I'm not even getting. I didn't even get paid to do this. I don't have to put up with this shit.
Yeah.
And if you're just being obnoxious or a prick,
Yeah.
and if I was doing that to you, not just, I mean, if it was the
Right.
other way around, I wouldn't expect anything different. You know, I love the whole like, oh, what about my free speech? Well,
Yeah, you can
go
speak all you
to
want.
the town, go to the town center,
Yeah.
bark like a dog. No one gives
Well,
a fuck.
and you're not shutting down their account or anything.
Right, I'm
You
not
know?
shutting down their account. I just don't want them to see.
Right.
Because the thing is, my whole thing is like, I'm giving you content for free, in a way.
No, that's
And-
exactly what it is.
and-
Yeah.
and I'm not getting paid for it. I don't have a Patreon or anything like that. I should, but I still want to deal with it. And so if you're gonna be a fucking douchebag, it's nothing you do. Like, I don't mind people having an opposing thought.
Well,
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's when people are these day and age are mixing. They're not understanding. There's a thing called like being rude.
yeah.
Or-
Well, that is true. Now, I remember because I commented on this post of yours.
Yeah.
And I forget what it was, but when I looked, how many comments does it have now? Like
Well, the funny thing is, it doesn't have. It only has 904 likes, but it has over 450 comments.
Okay, I was going to say by the time I commented, I want to say it only had about 100 comments. But I said something to the effect of like the comments on here did not disappoint, and like
The chef's kiss.
Yeah,
The Carl's chef's
Yes.
kiss from The Simpsons.
Immediately you could see there's like some people just agreeing with you, and some people just saying love your work or whatever. But then there's like 7 or 8 posts just like this that started with some variation of I normally agree with you, but, and then they had like something, and it seemed like if you just read it and you didn't look at it in any other way, you'd be like, okay, yeah, I can. But that's not really where they were going.
Well,
with it.
it's the whole like. Well, the joke is like, and I'll tell you guys what it is in a second, or you can just go on my Instagram right now. My favorite thing is they're telling me I'm being too emotional, I'm being too sensitive.
Yes.
But I made this meme that I would say is definitely is not emotional, not
Oh, no.
sensitive. If anything, it's abrasive,
Yes.
and it's aggressive.
Right.
And I find it hysterical because you could say like, well, I think you're looking at a mirror right now because you're the one who's looked at it and
Right.
decided to type stuff on my comment section.
Yeah.
You saw it immediately and decided to impulsively type
Right.
this.
It
I would
proves-
say that's an emotional reaction.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
A very sensitive reaction.
Yes.
And that's fine because we're human.
Right,
We're
yeah.
allowed. There is no fucking. We can do this. We're not robots. The right and certain people, like, not even just the right, but just there's this mentality that people have that if you show any sense of feelings for things, like kids in cages,
Yeah.
then you're just or kids being massacred in school. Like the NRA likes
Right.
to use the whole like, well, you're being emotional right now.
Yeah, no
well,
kidding.
I'm a human, and I don't like kids dying
Yeah.
from thousands of bullets.
Yeah.
I guess I just can't. I can't handle things.
Cut back on the soy.
Yeah, I got cut back on that soy. I'm just a soy beta cuck. That's it.
Well-
I'm not a lizard brain.
It is weird. It is really weird, and there's a certain, I don't want to say it's a certain type of person, but there's a certain type of commenter that has like a prepackaged litany.
Right, it is, and I see
Yeah.
it. And the funny thing is, I see like 20 comments or 30 comments. And they're all written, and
Yep.
some of these are like long. I'm like, I can't respond to all these because I
Right.
don't have time to dance. I have a kid. I got work to do. I got to breathe. I got to shit. I got to eat.
Yeah.
Like, I would love
Right.
to respond to all these. And but they're saying the same fucking thing.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know.
It's just rearranged differently. And I'm not like, again, I'm not.
No,
I know it doesn't matter. You're pissed at me for putting this up. You're pissed at me. There's nothing I can do about it. It's like someone left a comment, and I got mad at this person just because like we're like artists, and I was kind of annoyed because he had issues with his account. So I was like, to me, it just was like hypocritical.
Yeah,
I didn't really care. Like I didn't care about it based on. It could have been based on anything. Leaving this comment, I just found really rude. But it was like, this is why you're having issues. Content like this is the reason why you're having problems with your account.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, I knew what I was doing when I made this.
Right.
I didn't expect to get accolades from this, and I knew that this would cause an issue. But
yeah.
I'm not trying to like troll or be nasty or to piss people off. I'm trying to make a solid point here.
Well,
And maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. You could look at it any way you want. But it had something okay, I'll just do the meme.
yeah.
The top line says, can a multimillionaire comedian get paid $60 million to tell us about their unhealthy obsession with trans people? Question mark. The best comedians punch down. And then I put in a circle, which I was shocked it really did not get as much attention.
No.
No, I was blown away by that. It's a picture of Ben Shapiro laughing in a circle
Yeah.
and looking like a evil villain.
Yeah.
And it says around, how do you expect Ben Shapiro to climax if he can't dead name people on Twitter? Question mark. Question mark.
I thought that was funny too that people didn't.
Yeah, they just said Chappelle's face,
Yes.
and they totally ignored Shapiro. And then I just put approved by and for aging rich comedians with stale material trying to stay relevant.
Well, yeah. I saw the Chappelle bit just moments ago that produced this thing, and it's, I don't know, it's
Well, again, I don't want to like. I'm not going after just Chappelle
Sure.
here or anyone. It's like Chappelle's there, but it's really just like a whole. It's like the Rogans and like all these like older comedians. A lot of them, I see it. It's like a lot of these dudes. They're pretty much old dudes. They're all like in their 50s and 60s. Yep. It's not a knock. Joseph's like 112.
It's
I'm
true.
like 96.
Yes.
You know, this is our they're our peers. No, they're also very rich. They're very, they have, it's almost like they got, what's the word, fuck you money.
Yeah.
They can pretty much do whatever they want, some of these guys. And their career is going to be fine. Or they're going to, Chappelle can say whatever fuck he wants now.
Right.
Netflix is going to give him money as long as he keeps getting those ratings. And
what was that movie with Rogan and Adam Sandler? It was one of Adam
Rogan
Sandler's.
was never in a movie.
Seth Rogen?
Oh, Seth Rogen. Oh,
Yeah,
it was
sorry,
called like Comedians.
Punchline, is it? Or
Yeah.
Punch?
Yeah, something like that. That was like okay.
Well, look, that was like one of Adam Sandler's better movies.
It was so fucking long.
It was about 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
But the Adam Sandler character is kind of like this type of thing you're talking about, if I remember right.
Well, yeah, I always found it
Aging.
funny where it's like, you think like, well, my favorite is like, he does this movie and like, there's parodies of the movies he's in, like ones where he's like a baby, he's on a baby's body, and it's just like, and it's funny, but then he goes and does like that movie where he plays twins.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I guess you don't really learn from your own.
I always think of like Krusty when he's like wailing about them backing a dump truck full of money to his house.
Yeah.
Like, what was he supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like, it's,
the comedian episode where when he turns into George Carlin. Well, I was referencing that in my stories.
Yeah.
The one where there's an awesome episode of The Simpsons where Krusty the Clown is like, and they had comedians in it, and the fucked up thing is, I'm like, the episode's over 20 years old.
Right.
And I feel like I saw it yesterday, but like, Krusty, like, all of a sudden, like, something happens in his career. Oh, he does like he does like these hackneyed jokes on stage. He does like horrible Asian stereotype.
Right.
which is crazy because Chappelle did that in
Yeah.
recent.
It's just like, yeah.
And then Krusty changes and he becomes like George Carlin.
Right.
My
yeah.
favorite was when he tells everybody to burn their money, and Homer starts burning the money, and Marge's like, "Take this home, but bury it," like to the kids. It's such a good. It was like, it's amazing how that episode, I would say, is like really relevant now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I just noticed like a lot of these comedians, it's like some of them, they're great and they evolve with time, and then some of them they just get like locked in these like circles, and I mean it's easy, and they just start punching down.
Right.
And I mean, it's up to you. You know, I've read about these things, and I think that I appreciate when comedians and stuff stand for, like, you know, it's harder to like punch up.
Yes.
You know,
Oh, absolutely.
It's like and people can like argue what the difference is, but I would say like making fun of disabled kids, probably punching down.
Right. Yes. That's not good. Never good.
You know, making horrendous, ignorant jokes about the trans community.
Yes.
Is punching down. And then people, there's this whole thing now where people, like, I see this, like, I see people say this stuff, and I saw some of the comments where and they get this from like people like Tim Pool and all these other, it's like stuff that like right wingers spread, and it's called like, Ben Shapiro spreads this too. It's that like pronouns, the tyranny of pronouns. They use this like word, like the tyranny of like they expect us to change for their, and I'm just like, it's the most stupid. First of all, tyranny applied to somebody who just doesn't, you know, is not that person anymore.
Right.
Like, you know, some people get into goth. Some
yeah.
people, you know,
well,
I don't know what.
The whole thing's just ridiculous. Like, look, over the last 100 or so years, you know, we've had like big monumental things like women can vote, you know, and schools become desegregated, and all sorts of things happen, and like
those 5 years ago, wasn't even 5. Maybe gay marriage.
Yeah.
It wasn't even. It was 4 years ago. I think it was 2015.
Very recently.
Yes.
And that's going to continue to happen.
But what I love about this though is that the right and the ignorant and right wing, they knew they lost the argument on gay marriage.
Oh yeah.
Until they get another judge in there, and then they'll try to take it back. But for now, they've lost. Pop cultural, everything.
Yeah.
They will never get on a cultural level. They're never going to get back, and they've even appropriated gay people. They use people like Milo to go out at like that despicable person.
Well, they come up with like these bizarre arguments like states' rights, or you know, they have now they're fighting over a cake or something.
Right. Yeah, but then what was the thing they did right after gay marriage was, and this was like in North Carolina. It wasn't that long after, was the bathroom bill.
Right. Yeah.
And people were like, what? And you know, Bill Maher brought up a good point and said, you know, unfortunately, this is this kind of dumb shit. They know what they're doing, the Republicans. This is the kind of dumb shit that gets people to get up and go vote.
Right.
But guess what? North Carolina lost the All-Star game because of it. They lost a bunch of business because of it.
Lost a bunch of Republican legislators because of it.
Because over time. Yeah. Like,
well, it's because every human on the planet knows someone who's gay and likes someone who's gay.
Well, it's not even just that. It's just everything culturally. Like, it's like a joke was, I said, like, the Christian right, or like the evangelicals and everything, they still push the world 6,000 years old. But they've had to accept dinosaurs into their mythology because of movies like Jurassic Park. They tell kids there's no dinosaurs, they lose.
Yeah.
But if they say, hey, no, Jesus rode a thunder lizard, it's in the Bible.
Yeah, right.
They said like the word behemoths in the Bible or something.
Well, yeah.
So they can like, but it just shows you that like, culture evolves, everything evolves. Yeah. It's just some groups take time to, you know, they need a new boogeyman right now. The trans community is, and unfortunately, like, it's fucked up because it is like, in a fucked up way, an easy thing to go after.
Oh, it is.
Because people don't understand it. You know, there's still like, people view things like, you remember WWF wrestling when they were kids?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember Adorable Adrian Adonis?
Yeah,
it was like, and it was a bad guy, and he was dressed up like a woman.
I remember that. Yeah.
Do you remember Futurama when Bender became a wrestler?
I don't remember that.
Oh, this is like one of the best episodes. He joins the Robot Wrestling League.
Okay.
And the first, because like the joke is you have to be a heel in the beginning.
Okay.
So they make him wear a tutu, and he's a gender bender.
Oh, nice.
And
Bender, yeah.
Yeah,
I get it.
But his name is Gender Bender. And the whole joke was that, like, I confuse you, I make you uncomfortable, I make your masculinity, like, insecure.
Yeah.
And people are like, boo!
Well, there was, like, there was a lot of subtext in that, and like Ed Wood. Remember the Ed Wood? And there's like that's always been kind of a thing, like on the periphery. That is, it's. I don't know. I guess your point of like, look, you shouldn't punch down.
Right, exactly. It's like I was just using like the meme. The train. You could put in anyone else. You could put any group in there. It's like I don't like when people, go when they like have an unhealthy obsession. Like one thing, like I'll watch Bill Maher, but for years, man, he's like. I mean, there's people who say he's an outright prick. I can't disagree with that.
Right.
But
like
the one thing I really don't like about him, and I haven't liked him, and he's been consistent in this, is he goes after Muslim people.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is like, okay, from a national stage, if you want to talk about like Saudi Arabia and those countries,
right?
Like you could criticize them for like saying like, oh, the way they treat women, but when you get to the United States. And maybe you should change your language a little bit and realize like you're dealing with a minority now.
Yeah.
And these people are being endangered. And I love it when people say like, oh, words don't. Someone left a comment on my thing and said words never mean anything, and I'm like, words can crush a nation.
Yeah.
Words can kill 1,000 people in 1 minute. Words can a tweet or a series of words can.
Yeah, I would just caution people like I think it's perfectly appropriate to say that maybe a government is like. Not a great thing, but like it's I don't know, I don't want to get too deep into it, but like I mean like there's a difference between the government of Saudi Arabia and Islam,
right?
And they're different animals.
Well, it's like the same thing. Like then I could say the same thing about all Christianity. I could say things about like Israel, and then it's like, well, people. I mean, my last name's Israel, so I hear all kinds of shit growing up. And the thing that drives me nuts is like, okay, 80% or over 80% of Jewish people voted for like liberal causes in 2018, and those the thing that runs Israel right now is like basically a system of the Republican Party.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Those are two separate things. It's not the same thing.
Nope.
That's a government. It's its own country.
Right, but you're exactly right. That's
culture.
like a good analogy because like. Israel isn't Judaism.
No,
right? Like,
but they try to mix it up. They try to say that. Trump will say that, and it's like again, when he does that, and people don't realize that, that's a subtle. That's not even subtle. It's a straight up anti-Semitism dog whistle.
Oh yeah.
Because you're basically saying that like Jewish people are not like we're not loyal to the United States. We're loyal to Israel.
Well, they used to do that with Catholics.
Oh yeah, like remember when JFK was running? They said, "Oh, he'll be." Where's his loyalty? The country or to the Pope?
Vatican, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like the most... I mean, people probably still believe that shit.
Right. Well, and everyone knew he answered to the Templars.
Yeah, Moloch.
Right.
It's like... it's like we're an evolving culture. And, you can... The last Chappelle episode, he's going to have another one because it made a ton of ratings and Netflix needs those views, or they're going to lose. They're going to lose subscribers.
Right, Disney Plus, man.
Yeah. Let's talk about trans people on Disney Plus. I don't think Disney Plus will ever allow that. Well, the thing is, Disney Plus they just want everything wholesome.
Yeah,
they're okay with like people getting murdered and shit, but
I'm there for it. I think you get like for like $6 a month. I think you get Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN,
no, it's not $6.
A T-shirt mailed to your house.
Right. Mickey comes in. Mickey gives you a handy.
Right. Yeah. Okay. This would probably be a good time to transition.
Well, okay. Now that's how you make a transition.
Right.
Regardless, I lost a shit ton of followers from. No, it doesn't even matter. Like.
Well,
it's like it's a weird thing, Someone actually sent me a message today, and they like apologized to me, and I really love your artwork, and I don't know, but his comments were not repulsive, like they weren't, like, attacking me and calling me a shithead, and an idiot, and a moron, and a libtard, and a soy boy, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think people can. I've seen people successfully disagree with people on Twitter, or Instagram, or Facebook, or whatever, in a way that doesn't like.
I mean, there's an argument, like, I know, like, people like Rogan and all them, not Seth Rogen, the Joe Rogan.
Yes.
They like to say things like, well, we could all disagree on things, but it doesn't mean we can't all speak. Now, on a very, like, generic level, that statement sounds good. Yeah. But when you're not on the same level as somebody and you have an opposing view, like Ron Funches was on, he's this awesome comedian, and Rogan said that to him. I watched the interview, and Ron Funches said something that was really good. He goes, "Well, I could say that. I'm down with that, but if the person's like whole sense of existence to try to basically eliminate my way of life of living, I don't. We're not going to be able to talk, or we're not. At least not. We're not going to be able to have a nice conversation. Just go our separate ways. Like."
You're not going to have someone like, well, let's look at the positives of like neo-Nazism. Like, no.
He did make those
yeah, right? I mean, that's
I bet you there were people in Germany who were like, these fucking trains never go That's propaganda.
Right, yeah. So, I don't know.
All right, so, yeah, let's get to the episode.
Yeah.
The Crow.
The Crow. Now, yeah.
Did you read the comic?
I didn't. Well, I never read the comic.
Okay.
And then you said, I think last night or the night before we were texting, and you said, "Hey, you got to read up on the comic or something to that effect."
It was an indie book, James O'Barr.
Yes. Well, I didn't realize it came out in '89.
Yeah.
And I would have guessed it came out earlier, but
I thought it did too. I'm like some of these indie books, sometimes like they will release like an issue a year.
Okay.
And it's like I had the first trade. I think he went back and made others. I might have picked up the sequel, but
sure.
I do have the trade. It's like growing up as a kid, I go into the comic store.
Yeah.
And I'll be buying like my own Uncanny X-Men, my Spider-Man, but I always see certain books on the side. And I was like, they were usually like in the mature reader section. I was like too scared to buy them. I was like a little kid. And books growing up, it would be like Den. I would see like Heavy Metal.
Right.
The Crow. Legion.
Sure.
Not Watchmen, but not Watchmen. The same. It was the other one. They made a movie of that too, with the guy with the Guy Fawkes mask.
Oh, V for Vendetta.
Yeah, V for Vendetta. Right. I would see books like that, and I just didn't get them. Or Akira, the original series.
Yeah.
It was all around the 80s.
Even like Swamp Thing was a little risky back then, wasn't it? Or
it started to, yeah.
Okay.
Mile and More and stuff. It was like one of those things, and I remember they announced they were going to do The Crow.
Yep.
And they got Brandon Lee to do it, and he was like he was like a budding star, son of Bruce Lee.
Yes.
They were trying to package him as like an action hero, an action star. He did some like he was in a a TV movie for like Legend of Kung Fu.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of ironic. Do you know the controversy of that show?
The Kung Fu, the original with Carradine, or
David. The fact that Bruce Lee was the one who developed the show.
Yes, right.
He developed the show, and the network basically was like, "Yeah, we don't want an Asian guy on TV."
Yeah, and they gave it to Carradine and
was his face? Did they literally make his face yellow?
I
didn't watch the show when I was a kid, but I swore I heard things.
I've never read that, but I thought the same thing. Was he playing an Asian
guy, or was he supposed to be always white?
I thought he was like successfully like ethnically neutral or something.
Let me tell you, when I went to remember the movie Kill Bill?
Yeah.
I got like they had some action figures that came out, or collectibles,
sure,
adult collectibles,
right?
Not dolls.
No.
Are you playing with dolls again?
No,
Mom. Mom,
get out of my room,
Mom. What are you doing with that sock? I remember going to the store, and like the guy who owned it or whatever was Asian, and I was like asking about Kill Bill, and he was like, "Fuck that guy," and he was telling me about him. I was like,
Carradine,
yeah. He was like, "Fuck Carradine, fuck him." I was like, "Oh my god."
Well, yeah.
Well, excuse me, sir.
I can see that. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, I that all that stuff it sounds very logical. I don't have any knowledge of it. But like, yeah.
So one of the first roles Brandon Lee had, I think when he was younger, was they did cast him to play David Carradine's son in like this TV movie.
That is ringing a bell, but I never saw it.
And then he's in like very few movies. I think he did like some low budget like action movies. Legacy of Rage, I think I never even heard of that. Came out in 86. Kung Fu, that was in 1986. Laser Mission, 1989. I mean, I don't even know what the hell that is. Showdown in Little Tokyo was probably like his first.
Okay.
That was like his biggest movie, but it's still like low budget. He teams up with Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It was basically like Tango and Cash.
Sure.
And because I remember he's like the most straight-laced dude or something from what I remember. The movie. It's pretty good for like a shitty action movie. It's like when you watch it, you're like, okay, this is better than most. Do you remember Taibo?
Yeah, oh,
Do
yeah.
you remember the guy though?
No.
Was this the guy who did the Tybo guy?
I remember Tybo. Yeah, he had infomercials and stuff.
Well,
yeah.
that guy got famous for that, but man, he did so many shitty like.
Huh.
Do you remember like Cynthia Rothrock?
No.
It's all these like kung fu people from like the 80s.
Okay.
And it was like, okay, so you had like your Chuck Norris's, obviously you had your
Sure,
Schwarzenegger,
yeah.
Stallone's. And, well, it's like Stallone and Schwarzenegger on top.
Yes.
And you get to like Norris, and then it starts getting lower budget and
Right.
cheesier. And then you get to like Cynthia Rothrock land, and you get to
Okay.
like, yeah, Tybo guy was that. And like Brandon Lee was kind of starting out of that, you know?
Yeah.
And then he did his first like big movie was Rapid Fire, which was actually pretty good.
Okay,
from
I don't
what
think I
remember.
saw that
That's
either.
like his first like major like, but they package him as like a kung fu star.
Right.
So they're not like. So when they cast him as the Crow, I thought it was really cool because it was like, okay, this is gonna like give him, this is gonna break him away from being in this just locked and pigeonholed
Yes.
in these cheesy like Chuck Norris type movies that, yeah, I know there's an audience for him, people love it, but in the end
But
of the
this
day,
was a
it's not,
legit
it's really
big-
not good for an
yeah.
actor's career to just get locked in that, or they start making like they'll have to show up in like a Christian movie like The Reliant
Yeah.
with Kevin Sorbo.
Well, yeah, because The Crow was supposed to be a big, legit picture. And
I mean, it's not like a massive budget, but
it was, yeah.
it's decent.
So I looked up the comic, and I actually read...
I'm not urinating.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pouring a beer. So
I read some panels, like I Googled The Crow
yeah,
and the writer's name and PDF, and I looked at some panels of the comic
surprised you
book,
didn't
which-
hear of the comic.
Oh, I had heard of the comic.
Okay.
I just never read it. I
Okay.
read comics like a
It's
fiend.
like he's a poser.
No, I read comics just nonstop from as young as I can remember till probably about 6th grade. And then I stopped reading comics altogether. And I didn't get into comics again until, I'll bet you it was until like the late 90s. Like, far after The Crow. The Crow was a period of time where I wasn't into comics at all. And so I wasn't familiar with that. I never read like the Sandman series or V for. I never read any of those while they were big. I went back and read them years later. But I never read The Crow, and I didn't understand what kind of hero he was, to be honest with you.
He's like a ghost,
Well,
or like a
he's like a resurrected, possessed guy.
yeah. He's
or
like an
something.
angel of death type character or
Yeah.
something. Like he's technically not alive. He's not dead.
Well, if you had asked me before, because I saw The Crow when it came out in the theaters.
Yeah.
And just like Reality Bites, I never saw it again until like a couple days ago. I'd never seen The Crow in the
I don't even know what inspired. I don't know. We were talking like, what do you want to talk about? And I don't know how The Crow came up. Did you bring it up? Or
Yeah. Well,
okay.
you said, what do you want to talk about? And I said, I don't know. Let me see
Crow's
what's
on Netflix.
Yeah, I said, let me see what's streaming because I want to be able to watch something now. So I can talk about it. And I saw The Crow on Netflix, and I Googled it real quick, and I was like, son of a gun, it's like 25th anniversary of The Crow, just like it's the 25th anniversary of Reality Bites. And I mentioned it, and you said yes pretty quickly, and so then I stopped thinking about it. And then I watched it, and if you had asked me a week ago, hey, what kind of hero was The Crow? I would have said he didn't talk. I would have said he kind of was a glowering, mysterious figure. And when I watched the movie again a couple days ago, he was like, I don't know what he was. I mean, he wasn't
The
Deadpool.
movie's like okay. The
movie's just okay.
It's okay. The reason why the movie, it's like by anyone's probably would ever even
Right.
talk about one amazing soundtrack. It's like from that
Oh,
period of
yeah.
time where like even the movie Airhead starring
Brendan Fraser?
Brendan Fraser,
and
Adam Sandler, and Steve Buscemi, which is like a middling
Yeah.
comedy. I liked it growing up.
It was
It's a
fun.
metalheads take over a record, a radio station.
Yes.
To get their again great soundtrack. It's like
Yeah.
there was this whole series, like even Bill and Ted Bo's Journey has like an amazing soundtrack.
Right.
It's like the '90s. Like again, people were buying CDs, so there's probably more effort put on
Yep.
that, and bands would have like special covers on there, or
Yeah.
like one-offs, or like different version of a song.
Right.
So as like a music
even
collector,
like the
you would
Beavis
want-
and Butthead album
Right.
had like great music.
yeah. You want those things.
Yeah.
And sometimes the soundtrack would like Judgment Night. Remember Judgment
Oh,
Night?
yeah.
Like the movie. I remember. Man, we fucking loved that soundtrack. It
Yeah.
was so freaking good. It was like metal and hardcore bands and like different type of bands merging with like hip hop and
Yep.
R&B or whatever.
Yeah.
And some of the best songs are on there. And I remember seeing, and we were so excited to see the fucking movie, and then we saw the movie, and we were like, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's not that good.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
like, if you would ask me, and I guess this kind of dovetails into what you were saying, if you were to ask me what I remembered about The Crow from back in the day,
it's Brendan Lee getting fucking killed.
Brendan Lee getting killed.
It's not funny,
getting
guys.
killed. No, and
Speaking of punching down,
right, and the
down.
the soundtrack was amazing.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna pull up the soundtrack. But so the movie was supposed to come out earlier.
Okay, that makes sense.
So what happened was Brandon Lee was killed basically on set. It was a faulty stunt one, and I'm trying to remember. There is a part of the movie where he, like, they basically kept it in the movie, but there's because it's a scene. I think they used a stunt double when they did it. They had to go back and use a stunt double, and there's like some weird computer effects where they had to like put his face on a person's body.
Yeah,
so it's like some early CGI. But unfortunately, he died before the movie was completed. Like, I think they got most of it, but he was killed with like a faulty fake gun, right?
Yeah,
like caps or something,
right? And
people get killed. Like that's like people say like blanks and shit like that.
Right?
People can get killed from a blank.
Oh yeah, because I think what happens is it shoots like condensed air through the barrel, and then it basically pushes like part of your skull into your head, like your skull becomes the bullet.
Like the guy from what was that movie? The guy who says Friendo. Oh, he's walking around with that thing, and he just like punches people in the head. Like,
No Country for Old Men.
It's all done with air, right?
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lead. I think in that device there's a captive. I think it's a captive bolt gun, and a big lead bolt comes out and then retracts back in. They use it to kill cattle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it was like, yeah. Did someone from Sliders die in an accident like that, or
the show Sliders?
Yeah.
I think so. I'm trying to remember.
That's
like making of the show?
Yeah.
There's been all kinds of horrible different stunts. I mean, we talked about like obviously the worst one being we talked about American Werewolf from London.
Right.
The Twilight Zone movie.
Oh yeah. With, Vic Morrow.
Yeah, but what's the director's name?
Dante?
No.
Was it
just Dante did segments. No, it's the guy who did American Werewolf from London.
Right. What was his name?
Training Places and
it was not Joe Dante.
Well, regardless.
Right.
Like, there's been accidents on film, and back in the day when they would make movies, if they wanted a horse off a cliff, they would literally throw the horse off a cliff.
Right. There's brutal.
There's all kinds of every year there's new laws put in place, and there's like I was watching a thing about The Exorcist today, and my God, like what they did to poor Linda Blair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like especially she didn't like get paralyzed from like one of the scenes because they would do these things, and it's like these limitations. Directors, I don't care. They just want to make their fucking movie.
Yeah.
And,
well, you see that a lot too. Like Uma Thurman and Quentin Tarantino just had a big.
Oh, there was like a stunt or something, and
they put her in a car and she
almost got killed or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, anyway, so the two big things are the soundtrack is amazing and Brandon Lee got killed, and
that's the biggest thing. And the movie got held up for like a year.
Right.
It was supposed to come out, and at first they weren't even going to. I think they weren't even going to release it, but then they were like, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, like today, you wonder if they would release it, but they released it back then, and it got.
They released Dark Knight when he died doing drugs with a fucking one of the Olsen twins.
Yeah. Well, it was it was well received. This movie, The Crow, and I think some of it was goodwill coming from the tragic death.
Unfortunately,
right. But it came out and then it went away, and they made some weird sequels. And I guess
the sequels are garbage. The second one came out very shortly after, and my comments on that movie were, there's no reason to watch these movies. One, without not having him in it, it's lame already. And they get a guy who no one ever heard of. It's like if you're gonna do a sequel to The Crow, it made a ton of money. At least invest in a better actor. Yeah. Get it's like the movie did pretty good to warrant like more. Iggy Pop's in a scene.
Oh wow! Okay.
It's just like whoever made it, or I don't know if it's the same. I don't think it's the same director or anything like that. it's like they just took whatever like goth and industrial type
Sure.
looks and they just like elevated like 1,000. It was like to the point where it's like almost like a parody of itself.
Okay.
And like I remember the one comment, I remember watching it, and the one comment everyone said about it was it looked like someone urinated on this movie. Like everything had like a golden filter on it.
Shit.
It was Donald Trump's favorite movie.
Yeah, right.
This is my favorite
feel
movie.
good
This
finish.
is the pee-pee tape everyone's looking for. The Crow 2. It is. I remember like reading about. I remember seeing the movie, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like
Yeah.
I've seen movies that have like a steel blue filter over it.
Okay,
so
sure.
They look like they look like shit,
Yep.
or they look withered or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, but I've never seen a movie like this where they're like, "Yeah, let's just put a
golden-
yellow
yeah, that's
yellow
weird.
slide over it." So everything just looked like it was like I was a bee and it was honey.
Right.
It was horrible. It's
Well-
unwatchable. And then there was a third one which I never even saw.
Yes.
I've seen, like, I would get, like, Wizard Magazine, I would see it online, and like, they casted Eddie Furlong
Oh, okay, yeah.
as the Crow.
Right. I remember this one,
yeah. Yeah, like, I'm gonna look this up, but, like, there's, like, some... I forgot this movie even fucking came out. I don't even know if it even got, like, a theatrical release. I think it was, like, one of those weird
Straight to
sequels.
video.
Well, it's, like, it came out years later.
Yeah, like
and
97 or something, right? I mean, I read about this this morning.
There was a Crow TV show starring, like, Mark Dacascos or whatever his name was. I don't know how to say his name.
Yeah.
And man, Crow. You think Crow 3 would come up on IMDb search
Yeah.
right under Crow, but it doesn't. That shows you how no one looks that up.
Well, yeah, there were some, and there was a TV series.
Yeah.
And it remained kind of a viable property. I think they.
Oh, it came out in 2000.
Okay.
Kirsten Dunst is in it.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're just talking about the Crow.
So what did you? Now you saw it in the theaters, right?
Yeah, we were like super excited. Now, let me tell you, I was like junior year in high school when this came
Okay.
out, and I remember like this was like everyone was like looking forward to this. Like I
Yes.
saw this with like, oh shit, this is like one of those things where like all of us went to see this in the
Right.
theater. I think it was like 20 or 30 of us, and we just took over like a theater watching it. But I remember there's like one kid who dressed up like the Crow like for a month
Sure.
before the movie came out. Like he literally painted his face
Yes.
and walked around, and we all thought he was the coolest guy back then.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm just like,
Right.
attention getter dork.
Yeah. Now it would be like it's the archetypical like, we need to have a conversation about this kid. Like,
Are you okay,
yeah.
son?
Well,
son,
I remember.
you're not gonna shit up the school, are you?
Yeah, well, I saw it in Portland, Oregon. I was living out in Portland, Oregon at the time, and I was probably in my early 20s or so. I forget roughly.
Did you paint did you dress
No,
like
I
the Crow?
didn't. But I saw it, similar to you, I saw it with a bunch of people. A bunch of people I had met on a BBS called the Blue Confabulation, which is like an early version of the internet. Everyone in Portland.
Blue Confabulation.
Yes, apparently that's a line from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay.
It's like a deep cut reference to Rocky Horror
Okay.
that I'm unfamiliar with. And there's kids that dressed up like that, and a lot of the kids were real familiar with the comic. Comic had only been out for like 3 or 4 years, apparently, like by the time that movie was in production.
Yeah.
So it was still like a relatively new property. This was post-Batman, so it's like, people are like, this will be the next big...
I mean, it was like, it's funny, you don't have Spider-Man yet. You don't
Nope.
have, but you do get these like weird indie comic movies, It's
Dark
like,
Man.
Well, Dark Man, I don't think was based on an actual
I don't think so either,
no.
but it's in that ballpark.
But I mean, there was like actual like you find out something was like a graphic novel, like Men in Black was based on a graphic novel. That
Oh, yeah,
or a
right.
comic series I never even heard of. It was
Right.
like, and it was like one of the biggest movies of like '97 or something.
Yeah.
But like Barbed Wire.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that
When did Tank Girl come out?
around the same time.
Okay, yeah, you're
Johnny
right.
Mnemonic
Right.
around the same time.
True, true.
Maybe like 95. All these movies come out like around 94, 95.
yeah.
I don't know. Like I rewatched it, and like it's okay. Like it.
Now, had you seen it?
I haven't seen it in years.
Okay, so you...
I saw it in the theater. I'm sure I saw it like on cable.
Sure.
I know it wasn't the only time I saw it in the theater. I know I've seen this
Right.
at least once or twice after over the years. But yeah, it was the first time in a long time. And,
Okay.
it's not like I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Like I remember
Right.
like Michael Winslow was in it.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
kind of like all these movies. And the thing is, and if you're listening to this, you're probably gonna be like, so I read the comic, but I should have looked it over again.
Yeah.
I am like, I know there's like plot elements. I think they beef up the girl's role more in the story.
Okay.
And again, it's like this weird thing that, like, and we talked about this in the past, and like about comic movies, especially older ones, where the studio felt compelled to always have like a kid character, that could identify with the hero, which to me was so weird because I'm like, this is like almost like I'm positive it was a rated R film.
Oh, it had to have been.
But like, there's no reason to have like
a little kid,
to emphasize with the character, or like
right.
I think they do that too, like make him more human too. So there's like gives the character more of a reason to be a hero. But I know there was like plot, and I think that girl was in the comic, but like I said, they beef up her role much bigger. She's like a bigger element to the story.
Yeah, if the articles I read today and yesterday are true, and I think they are, then the little girl was in the comic. And I don't know how big or small. Because I think the story,
because it was like the mom,
yep,
who's like the drug addict.
Yeah,
that lady I've seen in tons of movies over that time period. She was like in Unforgiven.
Oh, okay,
she's like
one of the prostitutes.
Well, she's the one that gets like I think cut up or something.
Okay,
that's the main reason why he's hired to go out and kill people.
Yeah.
Any excuse Clint Eastwood would give to kill someone.
Right.
That's right.
Puts an empty chair out and just sort of paces around and
talks. 20 minutes later, people realize what you're doing.
Right. By the time the silver alert hits everyone's phone.
We're referencing the 2012 Republican convention where they had Clint Eastwood come on stage and do the classic talking to an empty chair, except that was a massive failure.
It was.
Did you see his new movie? The one where he's like a drug mule?
No.
There's supposedly like he has a 3-way in it.
Oh, jeez.
Which is like the last thing I ever want to see on Earth.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, someone said that, and like part of me was like, I know it's on HBO, I could watch this, but now I'm just like, I don't know if I want to. I don't want to see that. Hey, you ever done the Devil's Triangle? You lucky punk.
Yeah. Woof. So, I've completely lost my train of thought now. Just imagining Kavanaugh, Eastwood, and isn't that Devil's Triangle?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, the Crow. So
the Crow. That's what we're talking about.
Was in it. And here's, maybe you can answer this because I tried to look today.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I would have thought he was a kind of a silent, glowering.
He talks, and I remember in the comic he does like. It's like poetry.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Kids love that shit.
Yes. In the film, the Brandon Lee version of The Crow, it's weird. He does some poetry, which doesn't play super well today. And then he does some, like, joking around. And
he's like a Harlequin.
Yeah, he's almost like... He's not a Deadpool... And he's not a Spider-Man, but he's more...
Well, it's gothic. So.
It's more those than it is.
We weren't laughing when we saw that they were like, oh my god, it's like The Mask.
It was.
The Mask came out around that time.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
That was a Dark Horse comic.
Yeah, well, it seems like almost... I don't know. A lot of the dialogue doesn't play real well today,
You ever see the movie Faust?
No.
You ever read the comic Faust?
That's sounding real familiar.
It's like he's kind of looks like a merging of Batman and Wolverine. Like he has like kind of claws, and it's like red and blue, and it's like he's like, I don't know if he's like demonic, but he does.
I think I'm thinking Prophet.
Okay, it's a black and white comic.
Okay,
and this comic ruined my childhood in that it was the most pervert. Like I said, I follow the artist who I don't know if pretty sure he created it or he worked on it. And Tim Vigil, you can find him on Instagram.
Sure.
Just don't report him because he does awesome art. He has people like will report him. Like, what do you expect?
Right.
The guy created Faust. Like, it is literally the most. It was this black and white indie comic, and the movie came out around the same time.
Okay.
Not as big, but man, it's like I'd never seen anything like that. I picked up like one issue, and I bought it. I wrote it home, and I was like, there's just like character, the demon character shoving someone's head in its vagina. I was only like 14 or something when I read it. I haven't really seen anything like that.
Like early pioneers of tentacle porn or something like that.
Well, at least in America, in the States,
right.
Well, it was like around that time period, and then there's a Faust movie.
I don't remember this. Oh, yeah.
It's worth a watch.
Okay.
There's an amazing scene in the movie. I'm not gonna tell you.
Sure.
You can probably find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We're talking about the Crow,
Right.
But I never. When I watched him, when we watched him, we never viewed him as like a humorous character in any way. It was not meant to be funny.
Right.
Like I said, it was like anything that was like poetic or anything. It was just because it was like gothic and
Yes.
it's like he looks like he could have came out of like a Nine Inch Nails video. In the
Well,
movie.
and he looks like there's some like wrestlers that took their look from him, basically.
Sting
Yeah.
completely ripped it off.
Right.
I mean, he Sting, no joke. Like within, you remember Sting?
Yeah.
He was like blonde buzz cut. And he always had like face makeup.
Right.
But then out of nowhere, it was like around that period of time, like with the NWO, when Hulk Hogan joined WCW. So it was like '96, which I always found kind of weird because like the Crow came out like '94. So when he did it, I was like, this is kind of old.
Like 2 years later,
It was like 2 or 3 years later, I was like, this is lame.
Right.
He came in and like all of a sudden Sting is now the Crow. And I'm like, how come no one's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, dropping or like giving it, what do they call that, like an NDA or what do they call
Right,
it?
yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, like a
cease and
disclosure
desist or something. Like, dude, what are you doing? You're not the Crow.
Yeah.
He was like that forever after that.
Well, that became like the Crow did have like a real distinct look to it.
Yeah.
And it did kind of seep its way into pop culture.
Again, though, I think his death like elevated that movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Just like, I mean, listen, everyone talks about how amazing Dark Knight is.
Right, yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, like people talk about like the Joker in the movie and
Yeah.
everything, and he's really good in it. But the thing is, like, somebody like said like the way he comes in and out of the movie, and I think I left like a comment one time or something on someone's thing. And I said, I think the reason why he's like that is because the actor fucking died 8 months before the movie, like literally like 6 months or 7 months before the movie came out.
Yeah.
Usually they do reshoots like a couple months before the movie comes out just to like get a couple of scenes. And he wasn't there to do those scenes. So it kind of worked in its favor because it made the Joker like appear like he was just this thing that would just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
When in reality, if he did live, I guarantee you they probably would have shot some scenes that would have explained a little more of the story.
I agree. Yeah.
But like, again, I feel like Dark Knight and the accolades it got, I mean, it was good.
Right. I would though like
his death had so much to do with that.
True. Intellectually, I'd love to have seen how that movie did and how it was received if Ledger hadn't died. Right. Like,
Same thing with The Crow.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have done. The Crow would have been like a middling superhero movie. It would have been something that I think people would have like. It would have gotten a release in the theater. It would have been like okay.
Yeah, sure.
It would not be like making $100 million or whatever. It just wouldn't. And it's not being like a dick or like someone would be like, oh, people are like, how do you know? It's
right.
Like, it's just. I mean, like I don't know. I follow it. It's just common sense. I mean,
right. Yeah, you don't really need to
like when people hype things up. That gets people to go to the theater. It's like remember Snakes on a Plane?
Yeah,
like that would have been just like a shit movie that came out, and then the studio was like, oh shit, they like worked it up, and people went to go see it just because of the stupid.
It was a catchphrase. It was,
he didn't even say it. So it was a joke. The trailer got released.
Oh, that's right.
And then people made it, so they had to go back and film Samuel Jackson saying the line in the movie. Because he never said it.
Right.
Get out these motherfucking snakes up there. And the funny thing is, when you watch it, you feel like he's just like, I have to say this. Like, you can see in his face, it's like, it's just like out of nowhere. It's really, I mean, that movie was a piece of shit. But it amazes me, like, how some movies can get hype behind it. And you see it, you're like, well, I think the hype was like 90% of the film.
Right. Well, yeah. I think you're right about that.
I'm not saying that The Crow's a bad movie and it's terrible. I just know that it would not. There wouldn't be 30 of us getting together seeing that film that night. It would have been like me and like 2 of my friends or something going to see it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, back then in like '94, it had this amazing soundtrack. It had a pretty cool aesthetic that wasn't super well.
I mean, it borrows from like Tim Burton's Batman a bit.
A little bit, but like
gothic elements. I mean, if you watch the fucking Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, well,
did you see that?
Yeah, that was with Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's like Rundown City, Blade Runner. I mean, it's...
Yeah. I could see, though, like, elements of The Matrix in...
Well, that's why, like, when The Matrix came out, 5 years later it comes out, I didn't want to see The Matrix because I already saw Johnny Mnemonic.
Right.
Johnny Mnemonic's around that time period.
Yeah.
And Johnny Mnemonic was not that good of a movie.
No.
It was like silly.
Right. That was Keanu Reeves and who else was in that?
Ice-T was in
that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
They were originally going to cast Ice-T as Morpheus, but they wanted the movie to be taken seriously, so they...
Yeah, right?
I'm just kidding. I don't think he was up for it. I think they saw, like... Yeah, Keanu Reeves like, can I bring Ice-T with me? Right. No, Keanu. Just you.
Well,
See you on Law and Order SVU.
Yeah, ugh. Yeah, he's what an odd career arc.
I love him, but there's you know that comedian O'Malley, I think his name is?
Yeah.
John O'Malley.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, yeah.
He does this amazing bit about Ice-T on Law and Order SVU, where it's like the joke is that he's like, even though he's been on the show forever,
right?
It's always new to him.
Oh, okay.
And it makes no sense because he's supposed to be this professional who understands. But he'd be like asking a question and be like, "I don't know, Ice-T, because you should be aware of this because you're on the victims unit." Look it up. Yeah, it's amazing.
I will.
Okay. Like, what the fuck are we not even talking about the Crow? Well, okay, so the plot of the movie.
Yes.
Because there is a plot.
Yeah.
Simple plot. It's like it's a revenge film.
Yeah. I had forgotten it took place in Detroit.
I didn't realize it took place in any city.
Well,
I just figured it was just a gothic city.
No, because I was watching it and they said Devil's Night. That's one of the first scenes. And
yeah, they were talking about Devil's Night throughout the whole movie.
Right.
Is that a real thing?
Oh, yeah. In Detroit, that's a legit worry. The night before Halloween, there's a lot of vandalism and violence and bizarre stuff. Not so much anymore, but like it was a legitimate thing.
Sure, the media always would overemphasize it. And...
Yeah, it's probably one of those things that was a real threat, and then the media made it worse by reporting on it sensationalistically or whatever.
It's like, I remember one year I was supposed to go to like the Halloween parade.
Okay, yeah.
I was like 18 or 19. We were
right. Is that like on Christopher Street or something?
Yeah, we were going to go to the big one in New York City.
Right.
The famous one. We didn't go. And...
Lou Reed had a great song, Halloween Parade.
Oh.
About the Halloween Parade, yes.
That makes sense.
Yes.
He was from New York.
Yes. It was on his album titled New York. He talks
about all things. Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty. That's not how Lou Reed sounds.
No. Not at all.
Broadway! Well, classic Lou Reed. But we were going to go that night, and we decided not to. We, chickened out, because we, little white kids in Long Island.
Right.
The media and everything was like, Crips in the blood are going to stab and kill people. Anyone they can. They're just going to stab people.
Yes.
At the parade.
Yeah.
I'm like...
That tracks.
So stupid.
Yeah, well...
Well, we're just lazy. We didn't.
It took place in Detroit, and it was on Devil's Night, and it was the plot was basically, and you have to. It happens all quickly. Eddie Draven, the Brandon Lee character, and his girlfriend had apparently
Mary Draven.
Right.
Actually, her name is Shelley.
Yeah, had apparently complained to the city or something about the condition of their apartment. And
even though they had an awesome window.
It was amazing. It was like the best apartment ever.
Yeah, what are you complaining about? It's
right.
Cool.
And so then people came in to rough them up because of the complaint, and they wound up killing Eddie and raping and killing
Right,
Shelley.
She doesn't die right away. She dies in a hospital.
Right, she lingers and then, yeah.
And he's in a rock band.
Yep.
Because they show pictures of it.
Yes. And he looks rocking.
He is rocking.
Yes.
And he comes back a year later.
Right.
Which is creepy when you watch the movie, especially when we saw it in the theater. That's the creepiest moment in the theater. Because you're watching it and you're like, because he was dead for a year.
Right.
He died literally probably a little bit more, a little bit less before the movie came out in 93.
Right.
And the plot of the movie, he comes back a year later.
Crawls out of a grave.
And it's super creepy when you watch it because you just you feel like, holy shit, Brandon Lee's back from the dead.
Right. The crow starts tapping on his tombstone.
Yep.
And then it's a pretty...
And then he has to put on makeup.
Yes.
Which is a natural thing that someone would do, I
guess. That was a weird thing. So, okay, so...
And then The Cure plays in the background.
Right, they play a great song, Burn.
Yep.
And I remember, I read this article, I think it was yesterday, or it could have been the day before, but they said that they tried to shoot it. If you look at the opening scenes, the CGI is pretty shitty, because it's 94, and they talk about the director, who later on went to direct Dark City.
Yeah, I never saw that. You told me.
Fucking amazing.
I've heard all these great things about it. I've never seen that. It's like one of those movies I want to see.
It's really good. I mean, I don't... It's one of those movies where I would never hype it up too much because I want to let someone see, like, just how genuinely awesome it is without ruining it by hyping it up.
Right.
And the guy later on did iRobot. And with Will Smith and...
That was okay.
It wasn't great, but, like, it was a big flick. You know, it was like a legitimate...
It was okay. I remember, like... It's Asimov? Is that
yeah, Isaac Asimov.
I know that a lot of them were like pissed off or something about that movie.
Yeah, well, it was because I read all those.
I think they were just mad that they casted Will Smith or something. I just think that's like 90% of it. They just think it's
they tossed the plot. I mean, it would be like
they didn't follow the plot at all, really.
Barely at all.
Yeah.
So anyway, the guy said, look, I shot this to be like a comic book. And when I read that before I watched the movie...
Oh, it definitely mirrors the comic really good.
And the scenes look comic-y.
Yeah.
Like the cuts and...
Yeah, because it does flow weird. When I'm watching
weird.
it, especially in the beginning, and I guess I haven't seen it in years, I'm watching it, I'm like, the way it flows, it took me a while to like realize a little bit what was going on.
Me too, yeah.
Which, I don't know if it's a good thing, because he should.
It's not.
No.
No, look. You and we watch enough movies so that we should be able to jump into any movie and at least get a sense of our bearings. And I thought this was pretty disorienting.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, a lot of the shots, you're like, why did they shoot it at this angle? Or what are they doing here? There'd be a lot of shots of...
budgetary reasons, too. They got to make certain scenes
Probably.
look bigger. Certain sets have to look bigger. If you shoot a thing, you do, like, product shots and stuff like that. And it's all about making you ever look at like you go to like an apartment and you see the pictures of it.
Yes,
and then you get there and you're like, that's not what it looked like when you get there.
Right. If you're pissed at your community pool, that's me.
Because I pissed in it.
Right. I made it look 10 times bigger.
That yellow that they used in Crow too came from the pool.
I wanted to throw this out real quick or I'll forget it. A weird quirk of it is they originally wanted New Order to do the music.
Just New Order?
Just New Order. They wanted New Order to do all the soundtrack. And Bernard Sumner said, no, we're recording the album Republic, which they were at the time, and he didn't want to take on another project. Yeah. But the comic book creator was a huge New Order fan. And he named a lot of characters in the comic after the members of New Order.
Oh, that's funny.
And Albrecht, the...
New Order is the original band was
Joy Division.
Right.
Yes.
And Joy everyone's favorite shirt.
Yes, right, exactly.
The shirt. Joy Division. The shirt.
Yeah, the shirt. And so Albrecht was Bernard Sumner's first name and then there's also a Hook, like a Sergeant Hook or a Captain Hook and that's Peter Hook so like some of the characters in the comic and the film were named after New Order.
So he kind of goes at it's kind of funny because it's like it almost plays out the same way RoboCop plays out. The way all these type of revenge films, because like in RoboCop, he becomes a RoboCop,
right? Yes,
it's not right away.
That's actually the whole treatment.
He is now a RoboCop.
Right, that was the script RoboCop. Treatment.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm glad. He wasn't like a robot and they called it like Mr. Mom or something.
No need to reinvent the wheel, right? Like,
he became a robot. Oh, what a plot twist. I didn't see that coming. It's like Fight Club.
Yeah,
did not see that coming. But you know how he like kind of goes after each team member?
Yes.
Even though he doesn't kill them to the end. That's the only difference.
Right.
It's almost like he's like taunting them or something.
Right. The Crow kills him though.
Well, yeah, he goes after each member and kills them. Some like slip away to the end, but and then until he gets to the last guy, played by the main villain, is played by Michael Wincott.
Now, are you talking about Top Dollar or
the main dude?
Yeah,
the one who Top Dollar.
Yes,
and he has this weird sister, which I don't remember if she was in the comic or not. Bailing.
Yes,
that woman is so bizarre. Have you ever seen her or anything?
Well, it's funny because the only time I'd ever heard of her was she was in one episode of Lost, the TV show.
Okay,
Lost.
she was in I've seen her in like an awesome Japanese movie called Dumplings. if you want to
Okay.
see something disturbing,
I don't. Is that like
You don't wanna see something
audition?
disturbing?
Remember the audition?
it's kind of like in that realm.
Okay,
It's she
I
played.
probably do want to see it.
Yeah,
I
it's
take
an awesome
that back.
movie. It's like this woman wants to retain her youth, and she meets Bei Ling, who's a lot older than she's supposed to be.
Right.
She tells her how to get it. She has her eat these dumplings.
Are they Sonic Green dumplings?
Kind of.
Okay.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah.
Google dumplings. Japanese movie dumplings.
Maybe not at work.
Watch it at your own accord.
Yeah.
And do not get mad at me if.
But it's in that realm of Japanese kind of audition.
Yeah, kind of.
body
Takashi
horror.
Mike. Yeah, this one's a little more subtle.
Okay. Cool.
But she's in like a ton of things, Bei Ling.
Yeah.
I would say her most famous thing, though,
Okay.
was getting fired from having her scene cut from Episode 3 in Star Wars.
Oh, that's right.
She was supposed to be in Star Wars
Yes.
Episode 3. And George Lucas got angry at her because I was going to make a joke, but
Yeah,
I
I was trying to reach.
punchline. Well, she was in Playboy.
That's right. Yeah.
And she she was like on the cover of Playboy, and they kind of emphasized the whole Star Wars thing.
Right. Yeah.
And George Lucas fired her for it
Yeah.
because he had her removed from the movie because, he didn't want to be.
He didn't want to explain what a flesh saber was.
I don't want to have her. That's
Well,
how he sounds. It's just like
yeah.
it's like Peter Griffin.
Well, Bai Ling was in Lost, and I want to say she was dating.
This is the thing is, I saw her in this, and I remember her from this because, one of the funniest lines in the movie, it's so bad. She has, this weird, it's like she's supposed to be Top Dollar's sister,
Yeah,
but it doesn't really make it, she could be.
Well, she's also, having...
Well, they clearly have sex with people together.
and kill them.
Well, yeah, because they're like...
We broke her.
There's a girl, yeah, that's the line. We broke her.
Sorry.
And I thought, how dare you take this moment away from me, Joseph? This is my moment.
I thought you were going to talk about the eyes. But
No, you took that moment from me.
We broke her.
You broke. I've been broken. This was my moment.
Saving that.
I was saving this. This was my
I let you have the P joke.
This is my Mr. Brady joke from Reality Bites. Yeah, it's one of the cheesiest lines. It's the way it's shot. It's Top Dollar's I think playing with a knife, and it's he's kind of looking off to the side of the camera.
Yeah.
And Bei Ling's in the background, and then there's a naked chick, and they bend
Right.
her over. They turn her. You see boob.
Yep.
And,
little side boob.
Yeah, you see boobs, so the movie's rated R.
Yes.
Or PG-13, depending on... No, it's rated R.
I think it's R.
Mid-80s, you could squeeze in a boob.
Sure.
You don't squeeze the boob, but you can see a boob
Yes.
in a PG-13
Yes.
movie. Just one of the guys is the best example of that.
Right.
I think they decided after that, no, rated
Right.
R.
Yeah, you guys can't handle this.
You can't handle this.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
This is why
They turn her over and the girl is clearly
Dead.
and they're
Yeah.
like, I guess we broke her. I said it. I did it.
Well,
I reclaimed it.
Bai Ling is in this real freaky way. She has such pretty eyes, and then she
She's
leans
obsessed
in-
with eyes,
yeah.
right? She's like,
And she's
she's
like-
like a witch or something. It's okay. So what's funny
Right.
about the guy who played Top Dollar? It's almost like she's playing a role. Did you see Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
Is it
With-
the Kevin Costner? Yes.
So do you remember Alan Rickman as the sheriff of Nottingham?
Right.
Well, his number one, and this is where I knew this guy from, and from other things, his main henchman was Michael Wincott.
Okay, yeah.
Who played Top Dollar.
Right.
So, and in that movie, it's Alan Rickman had a witch character. Do you
Right.
remember? It was his mom, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they I don't know.
Right,
that was a
and
weird movie.
Robin Hood's partner was a Moor,
Yeah.
and they were in the Crusade.
Yeah, the
and
whole
it was a bizarre,
and Kevin Costner
right,
had a British accent.
and very few of them wore tights, which, from what I understand, is
until
canon.
the Mel Brooks version.
Right, yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, Dave Chappelle, who told the whole time in the movie he was obsessed. He kept on making trans jokes, and Robin Hood's
crazy.
dude, I'm just trying to take money from the poor.
Well,
I don't get it.
yeah, you're trying to steal up. You're trying to
Steal up, Dave Chappelle. Not down.
Well, yeah, Bailing was.
Is it Bailing or Biling?
I have no idea. I
would say she's probably bilingual.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, she was like, look, and like I said, I just remember she was in Lost. Everyone hated her.
Probably want you to cut that joke. That's so bad. See, that's why I said I'm not comedian. It's like a series of dad jokes. This whole thing.
Yeah,
just gotta change the name of our podcast. Dad joke.
Well, she was in it, and
well, I could look up. So Bailing has been actually probably a lot more things than you know.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah,
a lot of it foreign, but like, well, she was in Crank. I remember that.
Okay. Yep.
Those movies are pretty funny. She was in Southland Tales.
Okay.
Which was pretty fucking horrible.
Yeah.
It's a follow up to Donnie Darko.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Same director.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to see like what she's been in, but she had like her moment, and like I said, I think like Sharknado 5.
Oh,
jeez. Definitely like having her George Lucas firing her definitely like put a stunt to her career. Because her name was like getting out there.
It was. She seemed on the cusp of fame, and
well, it's funny because she was in The Crow, but then I didn't see her anything for years, and I started seeing her things again.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's the film in a nutshell. It's a revenge film.
Yeah, and I mean, he just goes after everyone. There's like a little girl in it who I guess witnessed the death or saw him fall, like his dead body.
She saw Shelley and Eric getting pulled into the ambulance. Is the way I remember it.
And then there's Michael Winslow, the cop character. I love Michael Winslow. He's obviously from Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. Anytime he shows up in something, he could be on something terrible, but he's like one of those people who's like a decent enough actor that he can make the scene better. He can elevate a scene.
He was real. Yeah, I thought
he's fine in it.
Yes,
you like hot dogs.
He was probably the best in the movie because look. It's hard to say, like, it's a comic book movie. And this is a comic book movie before they were treated like high art or something. And a lot of
this is like a mid to low budget Batman.
Yes. Well, it was. And look, it borrowed a lot from Tim Burton's Batman. But the character was like, I don't know.
It's like an MTV music video, too.
Yeah.
Well, there was the thing. Okay, so when you watch the movie, though, Brandon Lee is good in it.
Oh, yeah.
There's potential there. And it's sad when you watch the movie because you're like, that's it. Right. He was only like a couple of movies. I bet you he would be around today.
Oh, yeah.
And you just see it, and it's like just shows you like a stupid accent. And then, you know, like the myth of the Lee family?
Yeah.
Like it talked about like the curse. Cause,
yes.
Well, the dad, Bruce Lee, did he die on set? Also, or did he die off set?
I don't know. I thought he died off set, but I don't know that.
He had like a stroke or something, right? Or what?
He died young. Yeah,
but he had like an aneurysm?
I don't know.
In that movie, he's in, like his last movie, they just finished it. They had like people dressed up as him, and there's like a guy wearing glasses, and it's like not him.
Right. Yeah, he was. Look, Bruce Lee. When I was a kid, there's a group of actors when I was a kid that you knew of. Even if you had never seen any of their movies. It was like Bruce Lee, maybe Steve McQueen. I want to say like Burt Reynolds. And there's a few where you like...
I just think of the Norm Macdonald
impression
of Burt Reynolds.
Perfect.
It's like, it's its own thing.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's like the laziest impression. It's like somebody just said, hey, what's Burt Reynolds?
Right.
He's got a jacket, and he looks like he's chewing gum all the time, and he's got a mustache.
Like
and just make him out to be ignorant as fuck. All right, perfect. Wrong.
Yeah, well, the Burt Reynolds and Sean Connery combo on the Saturday Night Live skits were just gold.
Yeah.
And Farrell is Alex Trebek.
So you watch The Crow, and like I said, you see Brandon Lee, and it's like I said, there's a lot. It's like you just see the potential. It's like, who knows what he would have done today?
Right.
Who knows if he would be in anything? I mean,
well, I think The Crow would have launched him to a big.
He would have gotten other things. It was not a bad movie where it's like, okay, well, I guess we won't be seeing Brandon Lee in anything. It would have just moved. It would have been a stepping stone to something even better.
Yes.
But you know.
But yeah, it's
just
sad, you know. Yeah, so that's actually the whole movie. I guess, it's funny. I watched it. I watched a half of it. It's only like an hour and a half long. Like most.
It's a pretty.
movies.
Yeah, it's not long.
I watched maybe 45 minutes one night, and it was late, and then I went to bed, and I watched 45 minutes the next night. And the first night, my wife was she was in the room as I was watching it, and
Stupid.
she was like, she's like, this is terrible.
You're like, shut up! This is cinematic.
and I was like, okay, and like I don't often think this because usually if she says this is terrible, I'm like, well, that's just your opinion now, isn't it? Like I'm like the dude or something.
Yeah.
And but this time I was like, okay, is she talking about like the gratuitous rape? Or is she talking about like the dialogue? Because that's pretty bad. Or is she talking about... And I couldn't tell what she was talking about. And so I was like, well, what is terrible about it?
That's terrible.
Yeah, right. What is terrible? And she was just like, it's just terrible. And that was like the extent.
Well, but like you said, it's like the choppiness of it.
Yeah.
And, okay.
Well, she said it was terrible.
Okay. Well, I think this is like, not to get repetitious, even though we'll do that.
Yeah.
But like, this movie's only big because he died. This movie was made, like, if you like The Crow, I think you would be like disappointed in the movie. I think it meets it. Like, I've seen comic book movies and I've seen movies based on properties where they just butcher the fucking thing. And you're just like, what? I mean, The Crow's not the most complicated story. It's pretty simple.
No, it's...
I mean, but who the hell knows? You get the wrong people run it. They'll do something so stupid with it. Or, like, just ruin it. And this one, if you're a fan of the comic, you were like, I'm sure you were pleased by it. You were satisfied by it. And it was like, you were happy to see it up there on the screen.
Like we said, back then it wasn't like today. With if you don't like the most recent superhero movie, there's a new one coming out in like a week.
Oh yeah, this is still around that time period, which was funny. Like I was saying though, in the '90s and stuff like that, yeah, like you get like a Batman movie like every 3 years, and there was talks of these other big movies.
Yeah.
But there was better chances of seeing like graphic novels and like indie books and Dark Horse comics, like The Mask and Tank Girl. You had a better chance of seeing that in the theater. There's like it was like they wouldn't even touch Spider-Man yet. They wouldn't even touch any of the like X-Men, like all these movies. They were talking about them for years. The Fantastic Four, Roger Corman movie, I think came out around this time period, or it never came out.
But like these paved the way. Like if it weren't for The Crow, you never would have had Spider-Man.
It's like the most successful. Well, actually, Blade.
Yeah, Blade. Oh, yeah,
which is a Marvel movie. Technically, that is the first Marvel movie. First real Marvel movie. I mean, you ever see The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren?
Yes, yeah.
I actually don't hate that movie. I saw it, like, I don't think it ever... I remember seeing, like, when I was a kid, there was, like, a couple of Marvel movies that never came out of theater, but I would go to the theater and I would see posters saying, coming soon. One of them was a Captain America shield, and the other one was the Punisher skull.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, I love the Punisher. I was reading Punisher War Journal. Jim Lee was drawing at the time. And I was like, I can't fucking wait to see the Punisher. Shoot things. Fucking kill people. Yeah. And I was like 10 and I loved it. Captain America, I wanted to see it. It was cool. It had the shield. It was like the Batman poster when there was just like the Batman logo.
That was great.
And I was like, oh shit, we're going to get a fucking Captain America movie.
Right.
Oh boy. That movie is garbage.
I remember seeing that movie? Yep.
That is one of the... That is laughably bad movie. Like, no joke. It is possibly like... It's like they got what's the guy who wrote Catcher in the Rye? The big get was they got his son to play it, which is like, I don't even like, how is that a get? Like, son of a guy who made a book about a weird kid. Like, I don't know. It was so bad. Little fact though.
No.
Guy who plays the President of the United States.
Yeah.
Is Jones from RoboCop.
Oh, okay. Weird.
Who, believe it or not, was a RoboCop.
Yes.
Not him though. He was the guy who gets thrown out of the window.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So there's these series of movies that came out that Marvel had, and I remember going, and those movies never came out in the theater. If they did, it was like very limited, so they only got like videotape.
Right.
Like I remember seeing Ghost. The only way to get to see the trailer for Captain America at the time period was to rent Bill Cosby's Ghost Dad.
Ghost Dad,
Yeah.
right.
It had a trailer of Captain America before it. I
That's
remember we were
hilarious.
talking about oh shit, you gotta go to Movie Land. And it went Ghost Dad.
Right. Not since Leonard Part 6 had Cosby made such a disappointing film.
Ghost Dad was surprisingly better
I'll
than
bet.
Leonard
yeah.
Part 6.
Right.
Leonard Part 6 is pure trash.
Yes.
This is
Right.
artist I follow. Oh my god, he made the funniest fucking drawing. And it was during Cosby walking in the room with
man.
Ghost Dad because his dick's out. it's like you don't even notice it and you look around and you're like, ah! You're like, that tracks.
Yeah, that all adds up.
So, again, it was like starving for like anything. Like, they didn't even have
Right.
action figures yet. Like, the
Well-
first line of Marvel stuff, or any of these things didn't
There were so few things.
Right.
You had Batman. Remember Swamp Thing with Adrian Barbeau?
Yeah, the early 80s one,
Yeah.
and they made a sequel
I remember that.
had Heather Locklear in it.
Oh, that would
It
have
was
been
pretty bad. It was
Yes.
almost more like played for laughs.
I'm a huge Heather Locklear fan. Although it was only have we talked about this? It was only within the last year that I realized Heather Locklear and Heather Thomas were two different people.
I think
yeah.
you discovered that on this podcast.
Yes, I think it was.
Yes.
It
In
was
the early, if you find an early episode of YS Go,
right.
Joseph K finally figures out that
I swear to you.
Heather Locklear and
Heather
Thomas
Thomas
are two separate people.
Yeah, I think you actually may have been the one who pointed at that.
Yeah.
But
So, and the funny thing is, when you said that though, I was talking to my wife about this.
Yeah.
And she said that they used to get
confused.
yeah, like that is actually not just you. That is that was a known thing back in the 80s or
That's
that time
funny.
period that people would mix the two together. Even though I don't think they look anything alike. But
Honestly, I mean, I know Heather Locklear because she's been in the news throughout the years.
yeah.
Is Heather,
Famous marriages.
Yeah.
I never saw Heather Thomas there. I mean, you mentioned I only knew her because I saw
she was on the Fall Guy,
commercials
right?
for repeats of the Fall Guy.
The Fall Guy.
Yeah.
That show was.
And I think she was
Dynamite.
on I never watched it.
Oh,
I
it was
only
so
saw
good.
commercials for it when I was a kid growing up. And I think she was famous for being on whatever those fucking games we would do with the stars, the celebrities.
Oh yeah. Right. Battle of the Network Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also great. But
Yeah. So, what the fuck were you talking
I don't
about?
know.
Okay, so we're just starving for anything. So the Punisher movie comes out and had Dolph Lundgren, which was
Yep.
great fucking casting. And the funny thing was Jim Lee, when he was drawing the Punisher at the time, Punisher War Journal.
Yeah.
Jim Lee, that's his first. You're familiar with Jim Lee?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's his first major work. It's before X-Men, and he's the one that does the Wolverine Punisher fight.
Okay.
And I remember you couldn't even get that comic. They were going for back in the day,
Sure.
88 or 89,
Yeah.
for $20, which for a little kid and $20
Oh,
back then,
yeah,
man,
come
that's
on.
a lot of
That's
fucking
yeah.
money. But he drew him like Dolph Lundgren.
Huh.
But in the movie, it's okay, but the one dumbest thing they forget to do in the movie was they don't give him the Punisher skull on his shirt.
Oh.
So it's just some guy.
Right. Yeah.
I think the main element,
It's the only. Yeah.
the only thing that makes him different from anyone else is that he just has a fucking.
And it would be so easy to do.
And then the Punisher TV show comes out on Netflix, and the guy who plays
yeah.
him, it's good. But it's not the fucking Punisher. He hardly
Yeah.
ever wears the skull.
Yeah.
It's why do you
They
do this?
really retcon-
Just
yeah.
put the fucking. He should have it on him all the time,
Right.
so people know. He could be like, "Hey, I'm the Punisher."
Right. Yeah. That's that's his thing.
The only thing good. Remember the Thomas Jane movie?
Yeah. With
That one with John Travolta.
yeah,
that was a terrible movie.
They shot that in Tampa. I think.
Yeah, it was bad. It was first of all, he was always a New York-based character, but they were oh, the Spider-Man. We had a Spider-Man movie, and that's the place in New York. We had this.
Right.
What do we do? I have an idea.
Tampa.
Let's put
Florida.
him in Tampa, Florida, because
Yeah.
that sounds like something. I mean, just put him in fucking Detroit or something. Then
Anywhere
or Chicago.
dark, gritty, and urban.
Yeah, or I have him in Brooklyn.
Right. Doesn't matter. Just not
Yeah,
Tampa.
Tampa, Florida.
Right.
Cuba.
Right.
But the only thing that movie had going for it was he had the skull ship. And
Yeah,
people were
yeah.
because we grew up on that Dolph Lundgren movie, all as comic nerds and stuff.
Right.
And do you remember the band Biohazard?
Oh yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
remember the best thing about Biohazard? And I saw this band a couple times.
No.
They're okay. They're a
Like-
hardcore band from Long Island, New York,
Yeah.
New York and Queens and Brooklyn. And I would see them for years, and they got pretty big. But the best thing they did was in the beginning of one of their songs. I think on their second or third album.
Yeah.
They had the line where the Punisher. It's one of the best parts in the Punisher movie, where he's in the sewer
Okay.
and he's doing a monologue.
No, I'm not.
And it leads
yeah.
into like one of their songs.
Oh, okay, cool.
He's like,
Yeah.
"Why God? Why do I do this?" And it was like, it was cool. Like, do you remember like in the '90s and stuff, people would use like clips.
Oh yeah.
Before like songs.
Yep,
and, like,
absolutely.
Yeah, I used to love that. I'd make it like mixes. I'd probably take things from the Crow
Right, yeah.
or whatever, and I would like put together.
Yeah, no, it's I remember making mixtapes where I'd like intersperse like, and I had like, this was old school where you'd have to like wait until a movie would be on TV and then you'd like tape record it.
I'll have this mix ready for you when it's on HBO in
Right,
3
you'd
weeks.
literally like hold a tape recorder
Yep.
up to the TV and record a snippet of dialogue and then like
I
get
had,
your
like-
double tape out.
I had
and be
like old records and I would mix them in with
Yeah.
mixes and like.
Well, I remember I had like a Jim Morrison. Remember Jim Morrison's An American Prayer, where it was mostly like his spoken word poetry.
I think so.
I'd like mix like Jim Morrison's spoken word poetry in with like '80s new wave and stuff, and I mean, yeah, that was a fun time. But yeah, I mean, it's the same dynamic.
So, like I said, going back to like the Crow and all that, because we were talking about the Crow.
Yeah, right.
I think we were.
Well, this, yeah,
It's just showing you like this time period. It was like easier to see like these independent comic book movies, like studios. I guess there was like less pressure on them, and
Yeah.
it was easier to get them done. Probably cheaper to get them
Probably.
done. You know, just these indie artists be like, "Hey, you want $100,000?
Well,
sucker,
you're right.
sign away everything."
They were purchasing the rights to like lesser known properties.
That still goes on today. I think like some. I was talking to someone about this. I'm not gonna name the company,
Right.
name the movie, but there was like some big movie that came out a couple years ago. Something to do with pilgrims.
Okay. Yes. Nope.
Figure
I
that
gotcha.
out.
Right.
Okay.
Little Thanksgiving themed.
Yeah, it wasn't a Thanksgiving themed movie
Right.
though.
No.
And I guess the publisher was pissed because they didn't own the. Like they got to enjoy like making money from the books doing really well.
Right.
I think the books probably did better than the movie did actually. But there was like an initial fee that they didn't get, and like
Well,
I
the
think
movie
now,
gave those books wings. I remember this movie.
well, the
and it
book was
pretty
already
divisive.
supposedly incredibly popular before the movie even came out.
Mm.
Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah,
but like,
right.
I would hear about this, and like now a lot of these publishers now, unless you just go out and do it yourself and you own it, but
Yeah.
even these indie publishers, like they'll make you sign away, like
Right.
because I mean they got to survive too, and if a studio wants to buy it, like that's
Right. That's why I always advise young artists not to work for money, but to work for exposure. 'Cause
exposure
I think
is the best. Like when people steal my art, and
Yes.
somebody says, "Hey, cool," but dude, it's a compliment. They liked it so much,
Yeah.
they stole it. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Right.
Exposure doesn't feed my kid,
No,
pay my
no.
mortgage,
Right.
anything.
I tried to
Or
send some
feed my
exposure
coke
to,
addict.
yeah, right. I tried to send exposure to CoServe and for my electric bill,
Yeah.
and they just looked at me funny. They're
Yeah.
like, no, we'd prefer cash, and it's so exposure. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Get paid.
Well, okay, getting back to the Crow thing, because we do keep kind of veering away from the Crow. To be perfectly honest with you, there's not like a ton to talk about with the Crow. It's like a 1-note or 2-note.
I mean, again, and it's not a
film.
knock on it.
No.
It's fine. I mean, it has, like I said, amazing soundtrack at the time period.
Yes.
I mean,
and a couple of those bands, like, I don't know if you remember this, but there's a scene, like a 2 or 3 minute scene where My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult is in the movie.
yeah.
They're like in the movie playing.
That was always the thing, though.
Mhm.
Any of these type of movies would always have a scene with a club
Yeah.
and the band and
Right.
one of the bands from the soundtrack playing.
Yeah.
I remember
that's true,
one of
yeah.
the things I hated the most about was it Son of Sam, that movie?
Oh, yeah.
Was they had like a modern band. I don't remember. I forgot the name of them, but they were getting big. They were like a punk band that was getting big in New York City
Okay.
at that time period, and they had them in the movie, but they had them as themselves. I'm like, this movie's supposed to take place in 1977.
Right.
I don't think these guys were even born yet.
That's funny.
I know that sounds stupid, but like I'm like, if you're gonna make a period piece,
Right.
like
Yeah.
you know,
Play it
have
straight.
it some like I saw. There was that show Deadly Class on Sci-Fi.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, I got canceled. That show was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That show had talk about, man, I just can't believe, like, at least give it one more fucking season.
Right.
But there's a scene when they go to a club, a punk show, and I don't think it's Descendants. It's another band. Adolescents are playing.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
And they have them there.
Oh, that's
but
funny, yeah.
they like do something because I think the son's in the band now.
Oh, okay.
So they were able to like make it look
Sure.
like but it's like, but at least it made sense
Yeah.
because the show took place in like '87, and that's a band that fucking exists back then.
Yeah.
You're not gonna like have like
Well, Thrill Kill Cult was one of those bands. I loved them.
Yeah.
I thought they were amazing. I saw them live a few times. They were actually in this area not too long ago. I didn't get to see them, but it was like I would have always liked the movie just because of that. You know, like
right, and that's not a reason to like why your wife would even consider this movie to be okay.
Exactly, but like, look, that's like a reasonably unknown band. You know, it's kind of a little.
It's like a weird movie because it's of its time period.
Yeah.
It's like we know about it because, like I said, I knew about it from like hanging out in the circle it did and going to the comic stores and knowing what it was. Like I knew what it was. I didn't read it before, but I knew what it was for years.
Yeah.
Just because I was familiar with it, I would get like previews and I'd see it like in the sections and
right
stuff I was scared of.
Yes.
Get that Faust comic that put me in a therapist for years. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
like I said, I can only imagine if Brandon Lee lived. I think he would have done some. I mean, who the fuck knows? You know, it's like one of those things you don't know. You can you can map out creepy. You ever see this creepy? Like someone made this like a couple years ago. I don't know. It was like one of those things that got like shared on BuzzFeed and like went everywhere.
Okay.
It's like someone did these like photoshops of like people 20 years later if they lived.
Right.
And it was like Kurt Cobain, Tupac, like what they would be doing. Like Tupac would be at a movie premiere.
Yeah.
And then you see like Biggie sitting in the front row of like some basketball game. And
right.
like Kurt Cobain just like they just aged him. But
wow.
like, and it's done well.
I'd have to see it. Yeah.
And you see it and it makes sense. And like, I mean, who fuck knows what Brendan Lee would be?
Well,
Stand-up comedian? I don't know. An actual crow?
An actual crow. Yeah, I don't know. So it was a good movie.
Trump support.
Oh, Trump. Well, I'm glad I rewatched it.
It all darkest timeline.
I'm glad I watched it. It was definitely a different experience. It's funny because like last week I watched Reality Bites, and I remember not liking it in the theater, and I remember liking it more now, but only in like a weird way, like a different way. Not in the way I was intended to like it, but liking it like an artifact, you know?
Right.
And this time, I remember really liking The Crow in the theater, which I must have seen within months of seeing Reality Bites.
Yeah, it came out like, and I'm not going to get into a personal thing in my life, but there was something that happened with some people, and like it just connected. So those movies were like literally like I think a month apart.
Okay, so I remember kind of having a different experience because now I look at the Crow, and I don't like it as much, and I see it as an artifact, but in a different way. You know, like I see it as less informative about like that time period for me, at least. I mean, like I still like it.
It's not. It's still supposed to take place like kind of in a fantasy world. I mean, it's not bait. I mean, you got a guy coming back from the dead.
Right.
He kind of just fades in the end. You remember that? Like he doesn't.
Yeah, it has a very unsatisfying ending.
Well, he kind of goes back to the cemetery, I think, and he just kind of. Puts his hand on the grave, and you just assume he just like because he is like it's weird. He's in the movie, he speaks and he does things. Does he eat? I swear he eats in the movie, or am I wrong?
I don't remember him eating. I mean,
he does get shot and it heals immediately, but then later on, he like
when Bailing kills the Crow or wounds the Crow,
and I guess it hurt him, so he lost his ability. When she gets her eyes plucked out, I mean, it made sense. She was obsessed with eyes. She lost her eyes.
It all tracks.
It all makes sense. It's like
that was telegraphed.
Yeah. And I guess the one thing he had the power to do was to like get people to like where he shows the bad guy in the end to like feel
he was like powder
because I'm never gonna get into that.
Okay,
director.
Powder. Was that Roman Polanski?
No.
But it was the director also had like a weird.
Oh, it was pretty bad.
Yeah. Right.
Go ahead and Google search that, but just
but
be
Powder
careful.
had the same thing where
I didn't like that movie.
I don't either, but he could transfer the pain that Shelley felt over 30 hours of dying.
Because she suffered. She didn't just she slowly died. He died immediately because I guess he fell.
Well, they chucked him out a window.
Right, he fell to his death.
Right.
And then he ruined that cool window and kicked it in that swing. And...
Well, it's weird, the Crow brought Eric Draven back to life to go right this wrong, but in theory, it should. Eric Draven's body should have rotted by then and everything.
He's a ghost
or been embalmed.
He's not even
but he crawls out of a grave,
right? But again, it's like he's like a zombie.
Yeah.
He's like magic. It's like
Right.
he's a crow.
Yeah.
He's a.
Yeah.
I mean, like he's. It's like a weird thing. And then did you ever watch the TV show?
No.
So like, the TV show is like as if he's stuck around.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of weird because it's like,
Right.
are you fucking dead or not? What's going on? Like he's in the band and he's like hanging out. I'm just like, well, dude, are you?
Right.
What's going on here, buddy?
Yeah. You should see a doctor.
Yeah, like maybe you're okay. I got over it. Because in this one, it makes sense. He's back there, he avenges things, and and he dies. I think they made like a crow too, but I'm talking about the comic.
Right.
I don't remember if the comic, like, if it was a different, like, I think like Eddie, it would have different crows.
Right.
Like, because,
yes, I think I did read that.
It wouldn't just be the same person. So even with Crow 2 and having a different actor, if the movie was just better, they could have legitimately said like,
well, this isn't Eric Draven. This is a new one.
And they could say, like, listen, even if Brandon Lee lived, which would be bullshit.
Right.
Of course, they would get him back in the sequel.
But they could have gone with a different actor. They could have been like, this isn't Eddie Draven. This is like
someone else.
Eric.
But the problem was, it was like almost literally the same plot.
Yeah.
I swear, it literally was like the same thing. I think the only thing, though, they connected with the girl from the first movie,
Sherry or
or
whatever.
the little girl, is now older, played
Right.
by a different actress. I forgot her name. I've seen this grown woman in lots of other things. And I guess she played the same character.
Why do you think they called him Eddie Draven if he was like the Crow? You know what I mean? Like, well, it just seems like
Raven?
weird. Like, and
They don't want to be too on the nose.
Well, and he quotes like the Raven, like Poe's the Raven. Like, it just seems like if you had a show where the guy had like the powers of a bobcat and his last name was like Cougar,
Goldthwait.
right? But like it's just so close, but not quite there. You know, like
What, Bobcat? What was it?
well, like if he had the powers of a bobcat, but they called him Cougar, like John Cougar,
John
Cougar, like
or
John Mellencamp,
or Bob Kitty.
yeah. Like why not just call him like? Why couldn't he have just been like Eric Crow?
Or Eric Raven.
Or they could have called the show The Raven instead of The Crow, and he could still be Eric Draven, like Eric D. Raven.
This is why you don't write scripts.
This is why I don't write scripts. All right. Well, fair point. So yeah, that's The Crow.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we talked about Reality Bites, which was a movie I fucking hated.
Yeah.
And this one, like, I don't hate. I like it. I feel like I said, is it something that I would be like, some like 13-year-old kid, like, yeah, man, you gotta go see The Crow. You don't know nothing until you see The Crow. I'd be like, I don't know. I'd probably be like, there's some movies out there. You might want to. The Crow's on Netflix. Yeah, sure, watch it. But I feel like if you're like my age,
right,
Joseph's age,
and
your body's falling apart,
right.
There was a great.
You're like googling how to become RoboCop.
Yeah, looking up prostate exams.
Right.
You know. Go back and watch The Crow and relive those glory years.
Yeah.
When you wore face paint in school for a month and the cops didn't show up and
right,
lock you up
right.
because you didn't live in a time where Combine happened yet.
Exactly. Where you could like quote poetry and people would think it's like reasonably
smoke your cloves.
Yeah, oh yeah, woof.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. I remember smoking cloves in the mall. Yes.
That's like double badass.
It was with my sharkskin trench coat. So,
shit! Sharkskin.
Yeah, it's not like literal sharkskin.
Okay,
like sharkskin,
like a grayish blue overjacket.
It was that color, but like I think it's a type of fabric. I should look that up. But like it was called a sharkskin, even though it wasn't literally sharkskin.
Had a fin on the back.
That'd be awesome. Right. Yeah. Okay. So
it's an artifact of its time.
It is.
Well, I don't know what the next one we're gonna do is. I know at some point, we're knocking out all the Star Wars movies,
right?
Because there is a new one coming out. I heard.
Yeah.
We just talked about Episode 4,
right?
The direct sequel to Episode 3. So New Hope was a sequel to
yes.
Right.
So
exactly. We're gonna talk about the 5th movie of the series.
The big one. That's the big one.
This is the best one.
Right. That's one.
It's the one that everyone hates.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the 5th one is the one where that's like you approach that with some reverence and like you're like, look, this is
we're just gonna fawn over that.
Right.
We're just gonna fawn over it.
Exactly.
We're just gonna kiss that movie.
It's gonna be
Right, treat it
It's
like
going
a-
to be 40 minutes of very carefully worded praise. Just
Yeah.
like
Right. Thread the needle.
Yeah.
Walk on eggshells.
it was. Yeah, that was a near perfect move. But anyway, so yeah, we have some Star Wars stuff to wrap up. Now, someone did actually.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said somebody suggested that.
Exactly. We've asked people to comment, and we
someone
had
did.
a guy named whose Instagram title or handle is My Mind's Myth, and he does some art, and it's pretty cool. And he sent us a direct message, and it was a really nice message. Said he had liked and downloaded all the episodes, and
Yeah.
he said, "Why don't you guys do Blade Runner or Clockwork Orange?"
I'm down to do Clockwork Orange.
Exactly. I would love to do Blade Runner. You said that's kind of overdone.
just
That's fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Clockwork Orange, I think, would be a great one.
Yeah, I love that movie.
It's
That's
a great movie.
Yeah, Clockwork Orange is awesome.
Yeah. So maybe.
So who knows? Will they do Clockwork Orange next, or we're gonna do Empire Strikes
Yes.
Back next?
Yeah.
I guess you'll have to stay tuned to find out.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of rambled on this one,
Yeah.
and
I think that's because the film is slight. It's a.
it kind of is.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a weird thing. It's like it's like any revenge film. I Spit on
It
Your
is.
Grave. It's
Yep.
like any, it's like this guy's girl. It's the plot to the video game Double Dragon.
Yes.
Do you remember Double Dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a story as old as time.
Two brothers
Right.
fighting people
Oh yeah.
until they get to the boss with the machine gun,
Right.
and then in the end you have to fight each other.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was the big twist in the end of Double
Blood in,
Dragon.
blood out.
Blood
Right.
in- Well, I don't remember that. But, okay.
All right.
Well, yeah, look, my favorite thing
Yeah.
about Double Dragon.
Yeah.
There we go. So in the first one, the bad guy, you're hanging out with your girl,
Right.
just hanging out,
Sure.
doing 80s street
Yeah.
things.
Of course. Yeah. Wearing
You-
bandanas.
Wearing your boots and your blue jumpsuit.
Pair of Z
and
Cavaricis.
Your bandana and everything. And then a gang shows up, and of course the main bad guy has a machine gun.
Yeah.
'Cause back then, machine guns were harder to get. So it was a little bit...
Yes.
Actually,
it
no,
was-
that's not true. This is pre-assault fan.
That's true,
I'm not
that's
going to
true,
get
yeah.
into that. Okay. So in the first one, they just go up to the girl and they punch her in the gut.
Ugh.
And then they firemen carry her away. And then you and your brother like, oh shit, we got to go fight these guys. I got to go save my girl.
Right.
Or you could call authorities. And
Yeah.
That's not. That would be a
No.
horrible video game.
That is
Now,
wussing out.
yeah. What do you, some kind of wuss? Some kind of soy boy?
Get a machine gun.
Yeah, what are you, some kind of libtard?
Right.
Yeah. You get into a fight and you beat up everybody that shows up, and you pick up meat up the street because everyone
Right.
knows when you eat a piece of meat up the street,
That's
it brings
it.
back your health bar.
Exactly.
So my
Or
favorite.
if you see a crate, you just smash it.
Yep, and
There's
maybe there's an
something
apple
useful
on
in there.
Yeah,
Right,
or
yeah.
a knife. That's what I do. I just
Yeah.
crash crates, and I'm
Yeah.
like, holy shit, I got splinters. The sequel to Double Dragon, though, is my favorite. They're like, how do we top the intro to Double Dragon 1
Right.
and Double Dragon 2?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
the dilemma.
So they figured it out.
How?
In the sequel, it's the same scenario where the guy and his brother or whatever are hanging out with the girl,
Right.
and then the same people show up again, same dude with the machine gun.
Okay.
Like, dude, I beat you already. And he's like, fuck. He shoots and kills the girl this time.
Oh, instead of punching her.
And
Well, that
taking
does top it. Yeah.
So it's a little more revenge thing. But it was like, how do we top it? So in the third one,
Right.
they like, I guess they just changed it completely. It ended up being like a weird mythical quest because they were like, all right, well, this is getting old.
Right, yeah. I'm going to shoot this dude so hard he shits a gun. He just, it'll be,
Simpler times. You didn't have to
Yeah.
do much. The plots didn't have to be that interesting. It was just
No.
a dude punched your girl in the gut.
right,
Fireman carries their away.
yeah.
And now you got brawl in the streets. Now
Right.
these days, people demand plot lines. Bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get by with a nice, clean story like The Legend of Billy King or something like
What?
I don't know.
Billy King, the
Wasn't that
tennis
a-
player? You
Billie
mean
Jean?
Yeah, Billie Jean.
Billie Jean,
That's a
what
great
I'm thinking.
movie.
Yes,
Starring
that is a
Lisa
good
Simpson.
Yeah,
The best
right?
line in that movie is,
Uh,
Billie Jean, I'm a woman now.
The Legend of Billie Jean. Did I say Billie Jean King?
You did.
I said Billie
That's
King.
that Billy King you said first,
Right.
and that's the tennis player. Billie Jean,
Right.
starring Helen Slater.
Helen Slater,
This
Supergirl.
is
yeah.
the confusion. and not her brother,
Right.
Christian Slater.
Yeah.
But they play brother and sister
Right.
in the movie. But suppose they're not related in real life.
Right.
So for years,
And Slater from Saved by the Bell is in it.
No,
I
he's
think.
not. No.
Is he not in it? All right.
you would have been too young. But like I
Right.
said, Yardley Smith,
Yeah.
Lisa Simpson is in it.
She was great in Herman's Head,
And
too.
she
Yeah.
she gets her period in the movie, and there's a
shit.
scene where she says, "Bella Jane, I'm a woman."
Right.
And
Then
her
she
eyes
plays
are so
sax.
squinty. You don't even you just see the inside of her head. It's like it's going inside out at this point. It's like so smushed down her head. It's like, how do you even see? No vision. No,
No vision.
no vision at all. How would you even know you are a woman now?
Right.
All right.
All right.
Well, on that note,
Yeah.
I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about?
That.
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGoat, Facebook, YSGoat, and Twitter, YSGoat. Thank you, and have a great day.